and welcome to Talks Around the Teapot. Again, after three episodes.
I mean, we did tell you that this latter bit of Act 2 is going to be
a bit funky.
Because the DM had some big fucking plans.
Yeah, that we didn't know about.
Someone did.
I knew. Someone did.
Yeah, I knew about
Someone
it.
gets told everything.
I get told everything.
We didn't know.
I knew it was a possibility.
And I didn't know it was
I
was
none
too
the
much
wiser.
in shock to be able to respond at the end of our last episode.
Wow.
Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
First of all, before we start, I know we talk about them all the fucking time, but it's because we love them. And Ari's the best. Today we are drinking Warlock's Warning by Lucky Leaf Teas because I became a warlock today. So
I also thoroughly recommend the Artificer one, which I recently tried. And the Witch one.
Yeah, the Artificer, the Witch, and the Warlock are...
And the Wardrobe.
I haven't tried those.
Yeah.
The
I need to
Artificer
buy
one is
a
so
Witch
good.
one.
It's like this, but caramelly instead
Oh,
of maple. It's
I like
really
caramel.
good.
This
What
Warlock
about
one is
the
definitely my favourite one. I've like...
The Witch one is like herbal and doesn't have any caffeine in it. So it's like
That's
quite
why
calming.
I need to buy some of that.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
but yeah, if you are after a gift for a D&D friend who also loves tea, go and check out like all of their class inspired teas because they all taste and smell somehow like the class that they are. And they're all delicious. And Ari's lovely. We love
I
you.
don't have a drink.
Sir,
Sir.
shall we hand over to host Rio? Every time you pull out this little notebook, I get so excited about what you've written down in it.
It's so old. I've had it for so many years.
Where do we start?
So we start with, well, first I think the most interesting thing, well, first of all, you finished having sex about 5 hours on
After we
and off.
started?
Yeah, about 5 hours, as...
There was lots
Listen.
of conversations.
Yeah, exactly, on and off.
We had a lot of
Yeah.
updates to
Yeah.
do.
So between filming the last session and this one, me and Maijai had a whole day basically where we sat and discussed everything we think the girls discussed during that time because we knew when we did the Fade to Black, it wasn't just because they were gonna like bonk. It was also that they had a lot of private conversations they needed to have that we didn't necessarily want to take up all the screen time with, and it also was very private, and we just basically went through, so we knew where all the guys
And
were.
it's a lot of like recaps of stuff that you've already seen because it's just us like
It's just
updating
them
each other
settling their feelings on stuff, and it's also because of that it meant that actual sex is very like stop and start, like many rounds, and then at the end of this conversation we were like, that's about 5 hours of their life. So
Yeah, we've all been there.
yeah.
But then...
lesbians,
finally,
am I right?
lesbians.
Teenage lesbians in Regency, England. Am I right?
The black pearls have been identified.
Yes.
They have.
And I'm so relieved, actually.
Me too.
Because like I don't like that. Because anyway, you go first. You're the one hearing them.
My main point. Hold on to yours, because I don't know. My main feeling was relief because I was worried that it was going to be something like to hurt me. But Lucas specifically said there was no like nullification of my magic, and there was no like restricting of it. It was a protective thing.
Yeah.
And then, we'll jump ahead, I guess, to where I then asked Lilith sort of what that meant. And she said something about protecting her children from each other. I don't remember how she phrased it.
It was something like
But
that.
She, you know, sometimes like it was about squabbling. I remember being like,
And I think it. So now, and I'm so annoyed. That was my worst roll. I was rolling so bad at the start of this, but I was so mad that I rolled so awfully for my retrospective on does the Viscount have anything that I've never seen him without?
but now we can keep an eye on.
Yeah, because I'm sure he does. Because in my head now, I'm like, okay, so that stops the Viscount hurting me, and he's got something that stops me hurting him. Because Lilith isn't stupid, and she knows we made this deal in the state we made it, and she knows there's a high chance that Rosalind is going to attack this man at some point, and she's like, oh yeah, I don't want my warlocks to kill each other, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, fair enough.
it is, but I don't like that I now don't think I can hurt the Viscount. I like that I don't think he can hurt me, but I'm also like...
Unless we... Do you get Dispel Magic at any point?
I might. I don't know.
Because if we can get a Dispel Magic, we can get rid of his, but keep yours. So
That
that
would
we can
be
hurt
cool.
him, but he can't hurt you.
That would be cool. But yeah, we found out what the pearls were.
I am so relieved.
And Lucas was like, I'm just gonna use my spell slots because I feel awkward.
Yeah.
Which was quite cute.
No, but just
Which was
imagine how long that 10 minutes would have felt.
Yeah, just kind of like
15.
holding on to
No,
it.
it's
just like,
15.
so
It's 10.
Oh, I thought
have to
Lyndon
go,
said
yeah.
15.
No, he
You're
said
right.
that and then got it
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
Yeah.
No, but the moment that I had
No,
with
just like
that
this.
was...
Do this
Which-
for 10 minutes.
But the moment that I had with that was... And it doesn't make a difference because he didn't end up coming with us. But when
This
I
is so
asked him,
good.
like, can you do it quickly when I was trying to figure out if he could identify it
At the
when we were going to
funeral.
see you at the funeral, he was like, there's a whole ritual. It takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Which there is, and I do understand. But you know, you're so
The whole
like...
ritual for him is like,
Yeah, but like, he doesn't have to do that for 10 minutes. He could have...
oh yeah,
Just done it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make a difference because
I
he
just
didn't come,
think
but like...
Lucas didn't register how awkward he would feel until it was happening, and then he was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, I just think...
I
that's
love
funny.
Lucas. I'm a Lucas defender till the day I die.
Yeah, Lucas,
I had a nice evening with Lucas.
yeah, Lucas is pretty good.
I like him.
Oh yeah, you and Lucas kind of were friends for a bit, doing research together.
But before that, there was the whole conversation with Harold,
Mm.
where I was truly like, the note I wrote down was Taya got too comfortable with her persuasion rolls, because every time
so
you do
Did you roll
persuasion,
one?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got that one.
because every time you roll persuasion, you roll it like I'm gonna get it, because most of the time you
Yeah.
do, and you rolled it, and I see the look in your face of like, well, that's not one.
I was like, oh, this hasn't happened to
Yeah.
me before. I was like, like as the Taya who pilots Rosalind, when I rolled dice, I was like, that doesn't happen. I was like, what's this?
Men always believe me. Men always listen to me.
Yeah.
But that's why it makes sense that it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with Harold, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's like, I feel like Harold's one of the only kind of men that when you're speaking to, and like eyelids and kind of like, oh, come on. He's just very much like,
He's like,
no.
what are you doing?
What are you doing? No, if I want to be with a woman, I'll pay for them. Calm down.
And then I rolled an 18. I
Yeah.
got a dirty
Yeah.
20.
And that very
You're
much
his
felt
second
like
favourite. No, you're his favourite.
Second,
second
favourite
favourite
niece.
niece.
You're his second favourite.
No,
niece.
you're his
No,
second.
I'm his
Yeah.
second favourite. So you're his favourite.
Well,
niece.
Unless they're
Lyndon
Lyndon then realised that we've got other
Relatives.
cousins, and he was like, oh, that means that you're not his second favourite.
So is he saying you're the favourite and then there's a bunch of other...
No, he's saying there's a
fuckers?
bunch of other people.
And then us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
But it makes sense that you listen to you because your whole thing was like, look, let's be honest here. This kind of sucks.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement here. If you can think of anything else,
Yeah.
tell us. So it made sense that...
It was like, we all know it sucks. None of us want to do it. Do you have another idea?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Do we have another idea? No.
No.
So this is what we're
Yeah.
going with.
So, Dad, get a fucking grip and do
for real,
it.
for real.
And then he came up with the idea, like, all right, well, I'm not going to theirs, and they're not coming here, so we
yeah.
need neutral ground. Because it's very much like, I'm not letting them in here, also, I'm
But
not
Lilith
going
didn't
to their
get in
place.
here
Yeah,
because of
absolutely.
Lin-
Lyndon
wards.
forcing us to go to the masquerade.
I know.
It's the only smart decision,
It
I think.
is.
I stand
I
by
agree.
that. It was the smartest decision.
It hadn't entered my mind at all. Even like before playing, knowing Rosalind was probably going to try and set up a meeting. And then when Lyndon said it, I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Like, where else can we be?
It makes the most sense.
Because you guys won't feel safe at the Viscounts, and like Lilith cannot get into the
Mhm.
Brotherhood because of the wards.
So it was like, if we want to have this meeting, it has to be there, or the meeting isn't happening.
Yeah.
And
'Cause,
that's
like,
very much
If
what it...
we did
yeah.
do it in a pub and whisper fucking sus and somebody would hear and
Yeah.
report back,
Absolutely.
like that just wouldn't be practical.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down the note, asking Harold to do something he doesn't want to do while refusing to do something you don't want to do. Purely just because it was like, oh, okay, fine. If we're doing this meeting that we have to do, here's neutral ground. And then it's like, oh, but I don't want to do it there. And I'm like, I understand why you didn't want to do it there.
Okay, right, okay.
Defend yourself.
Agatha never actually said, oh no, let's not do that. She
No.
had reservations,
Yeah,
so she
yeah.
went along with it.
Uh-huh. Dude,
So-
you were very...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So
It's
what's
like,
your point?
Yeah.
my point is... Okay. All right.
Whoa.
Calm down.
You know you're fighting with God.
Yeah. It's very much a case of like, this was the moment where it's like, no, you want to be treated like adults. This is
Yeah.
the sacrifices.
Compromise.
I have to make a compromise. You have to make a compromise. Everyone's being
And I
treated
didn't
like
fight it.
no.
Yeah.
I'm saying everyone's acting like that's the whole thing. The Brotherhood are acting like adults, and there's a later point I'll get onto later.
Yeah.
But everyone's actually like equal. Like that's the thing. Everyone in the Brotherhood is equal in ways. You argue like equals, and everyone ends up like compromising. Like everyone in the Brotherhood at this current point, how it is now. Before, I mean, it's different.
Before we get later on.
Yeah, before Jonathan left, it was very different. But now Jonathan's not there. Everyone. Harold says his points, you say your points, and then you come to
Jonathan wasn't part of the Brotherhood. Of course, he's not an equal.
Anyway,
right. Okay.
But
I just hate Jonathan.
It's very much like you have your points, they have their points, and then everyone's unhappy with the compromise, but it's the only decision that can be made.
Yeah. But I did feel for Agatha a lot in that, because as Rosalind, I wasn't... Like, the thing is, so part of what Talia and Rosalind discussed during their 5 hours was the full update on the Madam B situation. So Rosalind does know that now. But it was still a case of, like, Rosalind didn't think that was the main reason you didn't want to go. Rosalind was like, oh my god, your boyfriend's been dead, 2 days? Yeah. And you have to go back to his home again. Like, that was, like, I actually thought Agatha did really well, and I was really feeling for Agatha in that regard of, like, oh no, that's just a really difficult place for you to be now.
I mean, and it would be, even if that thing hadn't happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Aggie did really well, I think, with that compromise.
Thank you, Taya.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to go back to this conversation in a bit, because there's a whole other thing that happens later in the conversation, which,
I love Rio, because Rio holds us all accountable, and that's what we need on Talks Around the Teapot.
It's very fun, because I love every decision you make, and I feel like in this section of episodes, every decision that ended up being like the outcome that you guys made, perfect. Like I think
I was gonna say I actually don't think Talia did any wrong things this time.
I think
much.
Those but I think every like actual ultimate decision that ended up to something, everything like you guys, for the one of the first times in the book, you guys acted like adults.
Yeah, no,
because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really proud of all the girls.
Right? The way that we just couldn't hold hands then.
Two dyspraxic girls.
We just feel like that.
Because every time that I found myself annoyed with a decision is because it's like, that's a decision a fucking teenager would make. And every decision that you guys
they all teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And that's my ultimate, fucking kids. You know?
Yeah.
But everything the discussions that were made, it was like, this is an adult conversation between adults trying to find the best outcome.
This is the first time ever you've been, happy with all the decisions the girls have made.
Absolutely.
No one's made one particularly deranged decision. Whereas usually we all do.
Yeah.
There's something that Rio's going to bring up though, and I don't know what it is.
I think I know what Rio's going to bring up. I know exactly what it is.
The fire at Gilbert's publishing place.
Fuck, yeah.
Oh shit.
Albert did his job for once. Albert came in with the hot scoop. Except he probably just read it in the paper.
I just got newspaper behind back. Guys, I found something else.
The thing is that the publishing house isn't far away from the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
So
he just went out for a walk and went.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was like, I smell fire.
Shit, that's the Bronton one.
Yeah, I genuinely don't think he was actively.
Gilbert.
I don't think he was actively searching anything. No. I think he just happened to find out.
You know, like in movies where someone will have like a newspaper, they bring it down, and like the event of the newspaper is like. I feel like that's what happened. Like Bronton fire. Oh.
The idea of that is that Bronson reading about the fire, looking up, and the fire's still going. Like, fuck, this is quick newspaper. But
no, because the fire happened overnight.
Yeah.
There's probably some.
I actually loved Albert in that whole bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I really love Albert.
Albert
sometimes.
didn't piss me off today.
No, me neither.
I thought he was great today.
Yeah, it's because we went fuck off, and he went all right.
And
then came in
the
just
perfect place
for
for men in Demons and Daughters.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Being told to go away and they do.
They come back, bang bang.
I think the ultimate thing is, because that's Albert's job to go away and do things, and you've never used him for that before.
Yeah.
And so you get annoyed with him when he doesn't do things because you haven't told him to do things. So when you tell him to do things and he does things, it's like, wow, he hasn't pissed me off. I'm like, tell him to do stuff. He is not smart.
I'm very
He's not smart.
In when out, because obviously we haven't had a chance to talk to Albert yet, because we went straight into the bath. I'm jumping ahead, but
I do have that note written down.
But I'm very interested to talk to Albert about what has been going on at home.
No, me too.
Because Albert went back to make sure our families and the villagers were okay, and all of our properties were okay. But that means he's found/spoken to Martha/Georgiana and knows what happened between them. And
I mean,
I am dying for the tea.
I can't wait for the tea. I also, like, I get why he did that, and it does make sense, but I'm also like, they're not gonna, like, target our homes in our homes. They're gonna stay London.
We don't know that. No, because,
Don't
like,
have a quiz.
they were obviously trying to scare us at that point.
Yeah.
It's best to be safe than sorry,
Yeah.
because if
Yeah,
you
no,
never
that's
did,
what I mean. I understand why they did it, but, like,
Yeah.
I know that it's gonna be, it was fine.
And it was
You
the
know?
fact that it's like, you guys have a gun company, you know, if he's going after properties, that's
Yeah.
going to go big boom.
Because imagine if all of those people...
gun-
Yeah, when
Powder.
Talia had that realization, she was really like,
Yeah.
Harold,
Yeah.
realise, like, a publishing place is bad enough. There's
Yeah.
so much paper that will go up.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure ink sets on fire.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably.
And there would have been, like, oil to do all
Yeah.
the machine.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's bad enough. You
gun
have
factory.
gunpowder in many barrels.
Mhm.
Mass
Like
quantity
warehouses of
A
gunpowder.
warehouse
Yeah.
of gunpowder.
But
Like-
luckily none of them did explode, so.
As far as
As
we're
far as
aware.
we
Yeah.
know.
Albert would have said something. Albert would have
Yeah.
been like, hey guys, I'm looking forward to the party. 3 warehouses blew up. A lot of people dead. Let's get our party on!
I did think it was interesting that nobody got, like, injured or died in the publishing house.
Yeah, I
But
think
it was overnight.
it was overnight.
They
People
weren't trying to
really
kill
there.
people, they were trying
Yeah.
to scare you.
Yeah.
It's
That's
because
it.
it's very much felt like a thing of like, we know who,
We know who you are. Yeah.
Tal-
I wonder why that is.
yeah.
I don't know. I
I wonder who might have let that slip.
I wonder who would have let that identity out.
But it was so funny because I know that was meant to scare Talia, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's to scare you," and Talia was really like,
I ain't scared.
"Well, Talia was just like, I already sort of knew that you knew who I was.
Yeah.
Like that was just a like I'm glad nobody got hurt because that would have been a waste."
Yeah.
She was genuinely very concerned about what's his name, Charles Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
That's
didn't want to
Charles.
say his name in case I got the name wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
that's good.
Charles.
But no one was hurt. Why is it canon that you brought Albert
Oh
a
my
stick with a fucking
Oh
bundle?
my god.
Okay,
Why did you and Lyndon make that?
True sibling, Raven.
But I loved
Lyndon
that.
made that up. I went along with it because I
Yeah.
thought it was
I
funny.
absolutely.
wrote that in my notebook. I was just like, I love the Pentecost sib.
It's because I think the reason why I started off because you said you were going to make him lunch, and instead of putting it in like some sort of box or something, I was like, yeah, I wrap it in a napkin.
Yeah.
I get scrambled egg and I put it in a fucking napkin.
Well, no, I wasn't thinking scrambled egg in a
That was
napkin.
the only food available. That was the food that
Bread.
Harold was making. Yeah,
Bread.
yeah, bread.
Lyndon did say you found like bread
Yeah.
and cheese
Yeah.
and apples, but like.
But you said any leftover
Yeah,
food.
you said leftover food.
Oh.
You
It was just
didn't
egg.
say food in the kitchen.
yeah.
You said leftover food.
Okay,
so
my-
all I could see was
my
scrambled
mistake.
egg in a napkin, bit of bread, tied up.
Ew.
Okay.
Like, disgusting.
That is my mistake then.
Yeah.
But I just put it in a napkin. I like to think now, as it's canon, that Agatha just saw the stick and was like, you know what will be really
Yeah.
funny?
Because now Agatha and Albert have kind of healed their relationship to the point that they can be shitty siblings, and I really think that's wholesome and nice.
Yeah.
Like Aggie was just like, lol, this will be funny.
It truly, because the whole because I was putting myself in Albert's position where my sister was like, "Oh, do you want me to get you some lunch?" Yeah, all right, and they gave me a wet napkin with like scrambled eggs, and I'd be like, "Why the fuck have you done this?
Dickhead.
Why would you have done this?" I said I was getting you food.
But
It's-
like, that's such
Sibling
a
behaviour.
sibling
Yeah,
thing to
absolutely,
do.
because I would do that to my siblings, and they would do it to me.
It's giving, can you get me some of that? And you come back with like,
Here's some of
this
it.
much.
Oh,
Here's
it's
some
like
of it.
my little brother would quite often be like, do you want an M&M? Oh, yes, I do. And he gives me an empty packet. And he's
Yeah.
like, you can go put that in the bin. You finished it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Or it's, do you want one of these? Yeah, go on then. You should have got some then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I liked that whole scene with you two. That made me really happy.
I
That
was
egg.
thinking a lot because the age difference between Agatha and Albert is the same as mine and my brother's.
Oh,
What's the age
that's
difference?
interesting.
What is the age
Well,
difference?
10 years for Albert and Agatha, 9 years for me and my brother.
Yeah, that's
Very
cool.
almost 10
But
years.
you're opposite, aren't you? Because you're older than your
I'm older
brother.
than my brother. But I just like to think that, like, the way that I treat my brother is very
Yeah.
similar to how Albert treats Agatha,
Yeah.
I think. So,
That's nice.
It was
yeah,
good to
it's
see.
cute.
It was good to see siblings actually being
Healthy
siblings.
sibling relationships.
Yeah. Except for that time we abandoned him in a
Yeah.
basement to die. But like we just don't talk about that.
I will continue to bring it up until the day I die.
I was trying to be optimistic, but alright.
But yeah, you made the plan to meet at the Velvet Masquerade,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then you went your ways, and you went back and you met up with Lilith. And the note I wrote down is Lilith knows about the sex and won't tell the Viscount.
No, I love that. Like, that was so slay. Like, the like smugness. Rosalind has never felt smug before. Like, she's never experienced smugness. She did when Lilith was like, "Of course I won't. Like, why would I?"
Women are allowed their proclivities.
That was so good. Because for a second I was so scared. For a second I was like, and then she was just cool about it. I actually think she respects Rosalind more now because of that. Because she was like, "Oh, you're actually doing what I keep telling you, which is to do the things you want to do and like take ownership of your life." And like, so I think that was very cool.
I said, who you want to do?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, that was really good, and nobody responded.
Sorry, just didn't hear. I was listening.
It's like when Robert goes, "I want to leave. I want to leave." Watch Fair. That's out now.
Oh yeah, that would
probably.
be.
Yeah.
That'll probably be out.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But yeah, it was so fun because I really didn't know how she was going to be with that, and I really liked that she just was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna." I think because that sort of established the tone for like the dynamic with the three of us in terms of we share a patron, but like those dynamics are very individual and not connected to each other. Like, she's not going to spill my shit to the Viscount just because she's his patron too.
In the same way that she didn't spill his shit to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it's fine. Like, I respect that. You know, they have their own shit going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just sucked for me and my hand.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. No.
but she didn't actually want that to happen.
No, kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer that he did that.
But yeah, I was very smug about that. Very relieved and very smug.
And then you proceeded to ask about 27 questions.
Yeah. Well,
which were needed, which were like
okay,
good.
I actually think she slayed. Even though my insight was abysmal.
Rosalind,
me.
yeah, okay, good. Yeah, good, because I was like...
Me.
She is me.
I am she.
Me.
I slay.
I, she.
I am the slay.
Me. Me.
Because, like, Rosalind's whole thing has been like, I actually can't... I want... Okay, she does trust her, but, like, I needed to know the answers to those questions.
No, absolutely.
Or I at least needed her to know I was willing to ask them.
Yeah,
because
because I still have this whole thing of the whole Warlock issue, and I'm like, I still don't 100% trust Lilith because I have trust issues.
I mean, she's a demon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's that aspect.
She's got
to it
her
as
own
well.
ulterior motives for sure.
But it's like you asked these questions and she answered them. To our knowledge,
honestly.
to our knowledge, truthfully.
I don't think I rolled an insight above like a 5.
No, yeah, it was quite.
I got like a 10.
I think the
once,
highest one
but...
you got was like an 11 or a 12.
Yeah, but I know she's a demon and her DC is probably 19 or 20. So, but I do think some of those answers at least were truthful.
Yeah.
Because some of them I was like, okay, why would you actually lie about that though? Like, what do you gain from lying about it? Particularly, like for me, the one that was important to Rosalind was, at what point did I come into the plan? And I do think that answer was true.
Yeah, because why
it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. But I'm, Rosalind is relieved that she knows that now at least, because there was a while where she was like, oh, has everything been fucked since I was 16? And it's not. I mean, it has.
Well,
but she did that herself.
Debatable.
But like, it went on a journey. But the thing is, she needed to know that, and now she does, which is good. I still don't know about the Viscount's thing that he has.
It could just be a war injury.
It could be.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, if it was a war injury, she would have said.
Maybe not, though.
Because it is very... Well, we don't talk... Because, like, it's one of those things where
but she doesn't have to go into detail. She can just say it's a war
The thing I
injury.
had about that was, I do understand. We're in Regency England, don't talk about other people's disabilities and stuff.
I guess,
okay. But then she was like
I
didn't do it to him, if that's what you're asking, which I don't know to what degree I believe, because in my head, she's not had an issue with breaking Regency laws of propriety before. In fact, that's what she wants me to do. She keeps telling me. So I'm like, it does feel like a bit of a switcheroo that you were suddenly like, oh, let's be proper and not talk behind people's backs about their private things. Yeah. So that one I'm a little bit unsure on.
It's one of those...
And that I think I rolled really low on. That was my 3, I think.
That's the one that I wanted to know
the
most, I think.
Yeah. But the pearls, I believe, like, that goes with everything Lucas said. And I think it makes sense that she's like, oh, okay, he cut your hand off. Like, you have this whole issue with him. Let's make sure you don't kill each other.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like a smart thing for her to do. And I think she was being honest about what the Viscount thinks of me as well, which was the other thing I asked.
If you rolled low on persuasion on the first question and then Lilith didn't answer, just a hypothetical, what if Lilith didn't answer, what would your next step be? Just leave?
I couldn't
leave the
say
room?
because I'm not some things I do find it hard because if I'm not in Rosalind's head, I don't know what her instinct would have been. Part of me thinks she's a bit deranged at the minute and she might have just been I know what this is, to an extent. She might have been well, it's something about protection. She might have said that. Or she might have just said she needed more time to think about becoming a warlock. She might have taken that away and gone off.
Yeah.
What she might have done, because it was playing on her mind for a bit and she didn't end up doing it, was going and talking to the Viscount about whether or not he's happy and content being a warlock. Because there was a point where she was thinking about doing that. She might have changed tactic and gone to him.
Yeah.
So it could have been any one of those things, but we'll never know.
Never know.
Because she did engage
I was just curious.
with me.
I was just curious because
I just like the idea of her being Lilith not answering and her being okay, well, when you're ready to answer that, then I'll become a warlock. Bye.
Yeah, and just leave it. Just
Which
the next
would have
day.
been the subtext.
Yeah.
She just wouldn't have said it like that outright.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I meant that as subtext.
Yeah.
Just like Rosalind going, we'll try again tomorrow.
But that's what she was talking to the Viscount the other day.
But she's not
going to do
Lilith.
that to Lilith. She likes Lilith. But yeah, and then I became a warlock.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about being a warlock?
You're feeling more powerful?
A lot. I don't know.
Strong?
The thing is, it's really strange because
warlocks have cool spells.
Warlocks do. Thematically, I think it's very cool and correct for Rosalind's arc. What Rosalind's arc has always been. And I think she's not fully processed a lot of that yet. When I think about her being a warlock, at the minute, I think Rosalind is almost in the survival mode of I just need to do what I need to do this goal and save the world and save our fathers. And she's not processed stuff that much. So at the minute, it's not she's a little bit numb around it. There are all of these feelings and things, but she's not let herself feel them yet.
Yeah.
She's just kind of I did that because I had to.
No,
it's that at the minute. But I think there's so much around, surrounding it, because she's just not let herself go there fully yet. Because there's so much, from an outside perspective as Taya, that I'm oh, narratively, this is so fucking cool that you were born to this, divine angel light lineage, and actually that represents your relationship with your father and your family, which you've realised is unhealthy and bad for you, and your version of reclaiming yourself is turning to something dark. I think that's cool as a story.
Absolutely.
And you got to level up in both.
I did, which is
cool.
very cool. And I know Lyndon has lore reasons for that haven't come out yet.
Yes.
I don't know specifically what they are.
I know.
Do you now? There's a surprise.
I'm not going to say it.
I think I have an inkling.
Yeah,
but
sure. We just won't say it.
I
here.
think it will come out on.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later.
But yeah, I hope the lore reasons for it come up because I know Lyndon's done really cool lore stuff with Rosalind and Lilith, as a pact thing.
Yes.
So that's very cool.
I'm so sad that we didn't get any description of what the pact was, because I just think it would have been really cool to hear it.
It would have, but I think I wanted it to be private because I want it to be something me and Lyndon can talk about, and I want it to be something that is just for me to know. I don't want anyone else to, because that is such I think, and again, she's not processed it fully, but I think when I look back, becoming a warlock is obviously the biggest turning point of her arc. She has and it was all, jumping ahead a little bit, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
But Harold said, you don't take this back. This is how you are.
Yeah.
Unless she decides to release you from it, which I don't know if she will. Rosalind's very prepared for her to not. Rosalind is bound to a demon now. Mm-hmm. And that was a choice she made that was very, very personal. And I like that we don't know. I like that more for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I'm just very curious to see where it goes, because I want, the thing is, it's once again it's the same with Madam B, how it was, where I was I want to trust them, but there's something that's just a bit off.
Yeah. And you were right about that.
Yeah. So we'll see, won't we? But then there was the whole...
We need to talk.
Oh.
Interesting. We can edit that out.
But there was with you and Lucas, there was a part of I mean, use your own research, but there was a part of the conversation which really interested me was the potential of Duna and Lucas meeting.
Yeah.
And then I forgot to do it, and then Linda didn't let me go back and do it, and I'm really sad about it.
Yeah, but
because it was just like a
later.
time jumpy thing.
Yeah, but it can still that time
we'll
can still
make
be Lucas still trying to get good to leave and all that stuff.
Because in my head I'm like, oh, she can be like his mother figure and look after him, and they'll be besties, they'll be like weird best friends, and it'll be so cute.
The idea of that's just really interesting.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
Like that's
so
such a cool idea.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see, because that's a little thread that I can't wait to see be pulled.
Yeah.
Which is going to be followed up on. I think that is Talia's next
thing to do.
Subplot that's not part of the overall thing is I need to speak to Duna. One, because genuinely we need to know if Duna knows how to make healing potions.
Yeah.
Because if she does, we need those.
Yeah.
I feel like she can.
Well, I feel like she can because she gave you the charm potion.
And she had the ability to bring Thomas back if
hire to the Brotherhood. You've already lost a dog.
Well, this is my thing. I think Talia just wants to go suss her out a bit because we don't really know.
No, absolutely.
And then she's just going to be like, well,
we need as many people as we can get.
Yeah, the other thing is Talia kind of, given that Lucas immediately said, no, that's absolutely not possible, she doesn't really want to bring Duna to the Brotherhood because she thinks that having this thing outside
will motivate him.
Will be the thing to... Because he needs something... He can't live in the Brotherhood for the rest of his life.
They should meet outside of the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Later on in the future, if Duna and Lucas thing goes great, bring her in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But they should.
Yeah, yes. I think that's... Because Talia doesn't care about bringing people into the Brotherhood. No.
She doesn't care about most people. Yeah.
Exactly. So...
Well-known fact at this point.
No, but she very actively asked Lucas, oh, we can't bring her in, can we?
Yeah.
For Lucas to be like, oh no, we can't do that. So that it came from him. That if he wants to meet her, that will be something that we can work towards. So there's a goal now.
Yeah.
Rather than just trying to hide from everything.
Yeah. He has wants now.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Because that's healing for him.
Yeah.
Rather than just I can't do anything. It's oh, I would like this to happen.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I love him.
So that was nice. That was cute.
The only other thing I had was the sibling relationship, but we discussed that already.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything else happened in that episode.
I don't remember where that episode ended.
I think it ended with Albert leaving.
Yeah, it ended with Albert
leaving. Oh yeah, because we arranged the meeting.
Yeah.
That was... Wait, did I do my thing in that episode?
What thing?
Or did I start the next one with it? I tried to contact Gilbert.
No, you started the next one
with it.
Because in that episode you became a warlock, and the next one is when you started as a warlock, I think.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, because it was because that was the first one.
Yes, at the beginning of the first episode.
Between oh yeah, of course, yeah. Because I did all my level ups.
Yeah, because yes.
All my warlock spells, by the way, are so cool, and I can't wait to narrate them for Rosalind for the first time because of all the cool aesthetic collides that it it's so good. But I've not used a single warlock spell.
Yeah, I did think it was so, jumping slightly, I did think it was so funny that you were then just Radiant Bolt again.
Well, yeah, because first of all, I'm saving all my leveled spells for when it gets really bad and I need them.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't want them to know I'm different yet. I'm saving that because I want it to be a cool moment because she's a dramatic bitch.
True.
So
true.
I'm saving that for when it's really cool.
In all fairness, they're all dramatic bitches.
Yeah.
In their own rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get there.
We will. But yeah.
So the next episode
50...
It starts with
54.
54 is the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Because I think in my notebook I've got a memory of I am a warlock. Episode 54.
Yeah.
It starts with the discussion about the meeting with the Viscount, and then
oh yeah.
setting that. I'll be oh, by the way, didn't tell you this. We're having a meeting.
That's when Lilith was like,
yeah.
Okay.
But
good for you.
They agreed to it. Because I mean, I don't see a world where they went, no, we're not going to do that, because it's very much oh, more able bodies to help us with our plan.
Because they were the ones who wanted it at that point. They didn't have to be convinced.
And then you sent the sending to Gilbert.
Yeah.
Which no response. Which we know why, which we'll discuss later.
Yeah. As Taya, I knew there wasn't going to be one.
Yeah.
As Rosalind, she just had to do it. And she knew, because, you know, I'd been told at the Brotherhood what happened to our dads, you know, in the way Harold recounted it, because you guys had passed that on to me. But, so she knew it was very, very unlikely that that worked. But she still just, like, couldn't stop herself from trying anyway. Because she knew, you know, the sort of in-universe equivalent of levelling up as a sorcerer. Like, that is a spell that Rosalind has been aware of since she started learning magic. Because she's been like, oh, that will help us so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just had to do it, like, regardless of whether or not she thought anything would come of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And nothing did, which nobody was surprised by.
And then it was the journey to the Velvet Masquerade. Richard opened the door, which was great. I love Richard. Every time I see Richard, every time I see Richard, I'm like...
Dad, literally
like,
dad.
Yeah.
It's
You're
truly,
my dad.
Like, what a man.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
I want to hug him.
And then there was the whole... the next thing I have is, once again, Agatha said the wrong thing. But that's, like, during the
Fucking
conversation
hell.
of, like...
But no, that was fine.
That was
because
fine.
patrons
Yeah,
were-
exactly.
It was logically, I know that like it's fine. A patron can mean anything.
Yeah.
It was your look, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, but that's because I'm stupid and I don't know that patrons can mean anything.
Yeah, but it's like, it's always fun of that, like, brief moment of panic when...
I was
Agatha says something.
proper panicking because I was like, oh my god, like, no, literally. I was like, I can't be trusted with anything.
But that was the thing, it was okay to say, because everyone in Regency is going to be like, oh yeah, your patron, your benefactor,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you know, someone who just sponsors you and gives you money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird thing that a Viscount has a patron.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But is
like,
it sugar mummy?
But yeah, like, it's just one of those things. She is kind of a sugar mummy, except the sugar is like
It's
magic.
magic,
Like,
yes.
she just gives
Yeah.
out magic
Yes.
instead of money.
And the mummy is a demon. But then you discussed with...
Sugar demon.
you kind of asked Madam B if you could have a meeting there, but it was basically like, we're kind of having a meeting here.
Now.
If you say yes, it'll be... Because it was like, oh, when is it? Like, well, what's the time now? 12. Now. They're on their way. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that sucks.
And she was very happy to see you again, which she said. And
She was.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay.
Like,
I'm happy to see you again. And of course, you can have the meeting here.
Like, she came out on such a, like, mature, chill level.
This is one of those conversations where me and Taya's going to be on the same side again, and these two are going to say that evil bullshit.
I just don't understand why you're both sat here looking like this. Like, she was so... She
was
did
so
everything right.
Yeah, I
Like,
think she did. I don't think she did a single thing
I
wrong
loved
that whole
her
thing.
in this episode.
She is, once again, a very great character.
Uh-huh.
I feel like me and you have an agreement that we haven't spoken about.
Yeah. Okay, Taya, Rosalind, like, if Madam B, like, helped you in that situation,
I'm so
then
glad.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
just
take
think
We're
that.
not there yet. We're talking about her agreeing and being nice about this meeting that we
Mhm.
told her was happening in her house with no warning.
It's like, you
Yeah.
came
And
into the
being
house.
nice to you
Yeah.
guys
She's like, I have
after
to
you'd
see
left
you.
her
Yeah,
being
okay.
really mean
We'll
to
set,
her.
it's like, we'll do it in the ballroom, we'll get the grand
Yeah.
table, we'll get the chairs.
We did not leave her being really mean to her.
Comments? What they mean?
Hey, comments, at the very least, they were kind of mean.
Yeah, because the thing is, I'm not saying it wasn't justified. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that, like, Madam B obviously did really horrible, fucked up things, and you guys found that out.
Yep.
She tried to level with you about it. You
Yep.
obviously reacted from a place of instinct and anger, which is
Yep.
fair and understandable. Anybody would, and that's the terms you parted on.
Yep.
Like, and then you came back, and she didn't react to that. She just met again on like, yeah, I get it. It all sucks.
We
but
didn't
I'm glad
react
to see
either.
you. I mean, you sat like this. Your faces were like this.
Your face
you
is
weren't nice to
immediately...
her.
Your face
You
immediately
never
went...
said, I'm glad you're okay. You never said, oh, how is everyone after, like, what's happened?
Yeah, you don't... Once again,
You didn't
more proof.
engage with anyone,
More
really.
proof that they don't give a shit about
I
other
spoke
people.
to Zach when we were moving.
Yeah,
tables.
I'm talking about Madam,
We're talking about
really.
Madam B, yeah.
But,
It's very much a case of understanding your anger from when you parted.
yeah.
And once again...
Like, I think she felt bad. Like,
yeah,
she obviously
absolutely,
felt
she felt
guilty
bad.
coming down.
And obviously she felt guilty
But
because...
she handled it well.
She handled it like an adult.
Yeah.
It's one of those cases where it's like, I understand everyone's emotions and feelings in the thing, and I don't think anyone is in the wrong.
No, I agree.
I just feel like this is a point where it's like, the relationship won't be the same again, obviously.
Yeah.
you do have to, and Agatha, I have more leniency towards, very much clearly. But you do have to, at some point, understand that everything that Madam B did, she did in a place of growing up where she grew up, doing what she did, coming from a place of no wealth.
Poverty,
survival, living in Ratcliffe, desperation, doing what she did necessary to help and the people in the same situation that she was. So, you guys reacted how you reacted. And then
she brought out the big table. You helped Zach. You kept calling for Diamond, which was quite funny.
Yeah,
Harold was embarrassed.
Oh yeah, Harold and Madam B.
Did they? What happened?
I don't know.
We'll never know.
I think
Do
I have a
you
theory.
know?
What's
No,
your
I don't. I
theory?
don't know. Like, this is not anything Lyndon's told
What's
me.
your
I have a
theory?
theory. I have a theory that Harold went up there and like had a very like level conversation with Madam B. It was very much a case of like,
I think that.
there's something that's
And
happened.
it ended with, how much do my children know?
Yeah, it
And it
did.
with, get Diamond out this fucking house now.
You've
But-
not let Diamond talk to Agatha, have you?
Lock Diamond's door right now. I'll pay you whatever. But it very much, it felt like a conversation of like this, like just the very basic laydown of what is going to happen, because it is a case of like, and it's one of those situations where it's like that conversation could have happened in front of you guys, but I just have a feeling of if that conversation happened with you guys,
it would have just gone.
it would have just gone like, it would have been
Would've got
longer,
messy.
messy for like no reason.
One of us would have opened our mouths, I think.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing in my defence?
You can. I
You
might
can say
argue
whatever you
against
want.
it.
It's Talk Time Teapot.
Yeah.
Talk.
I actually don't think Talia has that much of her own anger towards it. Like, she was angry in the moment, and now she's moved away and she's like, there actually aren't that many things that she did. But, like, every time that she checks in with Agatha, it seems very like, oh, we don't like Madam B anymore. So Talia's like, okay, we don't like Madam B anymore.
So it's Agatha's fault.
I'm just...
So you're enabling toxicity in your friend and joining it?
Yep.
But I'm not encouraging it.
Well, you are by
You
joining
are.
in.
Yeah, you're not.
You are by not being like, hey, you're obviously still really upset about this. Do you want to like talk it out?
Do you want to take a breath? Do you want to
Do you
take
want to
a
like come out with me and like cope for a bit? Like, do you want
Would
to?
Talia ever do that though?
She does that for Rosalind.
She does that for
sometimes.
Rosalind, yeah. Do you need to
I
take a
wonder
moment?
why.
She did that for Lucas. Do you need to take a moment? Do you need to take a breath?
I wonder why.
Anyway, we're not trying to call
Sorry.
people
No.
I'm gonna fucking leave, to be honest.
I get why for Talia, like, that is the way of showing solidarity
Yes,
with Aggie.
absolutely.
I respect that. I get it 100%. I just think that, like, that can't go on forever.
No.
No, and it's
You
not
know?
going
it's
to.
not
It's
going
been
to.
2 days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, all of that is just from the fact that, like, she allowed us to have a meeting on zero notice in her house.
Yeah. I know, it's
Also
it's
wanna-
very much
Can I use your spoon?
Agatha's emotions are getting ahead of her, you know?
Yeah, which is fair. She's
Which is-
grieving.
she's a-
like, she's,
Yeah. Like, so
It's one of those things.
yeah,
where I
she's being problematic.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
So
I got that. We got that on video. We got that on video. We got that on recorded. Great.
but I appreciate that you have some understanding.
Yeah.
leniency.
If I didn't, that'd make me a
you'd
dickhead.
be Dick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd be Dick.
It's very much like
Dick
I'd be
way.
Dick.
So
I do have full leniency, but there are just like moments.
no, I get that. I just
Yeah.
think
I just think it's been 2 days.
Yeah.
that's exactly my response. Is that it's been 3 days.
Yeah.
No, not even that. It's been 2 days. The funeral was yesterday, wasn't it? No, the
No.
day before.
Day before.
2 days since the funeral. Then.
Yeah.
Just cut the girls some slack.
No,
for a little bit.
I'm not saying, I'm not like attacking them.
No.
This is just a show where we discuss the
Yeah,
events.
absolutely.
and
No,
We
no,
discuss
no.
everything that's happened.
And
And I will defend my girlie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we had our meeting.
Had the meeting. You guys arrived. Rosalind. Well, first, Madam B was very much. She was like the referee.
Yes.
Which was needed because
But
meeting were neutral.
100%.
Very much like okay.
Needed a neutral party there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's what she
I'm
is
sad
more so
that
now.
Richard wasn't there.
I had the feeling
he
he was just
didn't
kind of
really
in the
have
back.
any
I just have a
need.
feeling
I feel like he was
in
just
the
by
back
the
of the
door.
room.
Yeah, he was
just-
like making sure no one disturbed us,
Yeah.
I think. But like, we needed Madam there as this neutral party because like, otherwise it would have gone to shit.
Yes.
And
It
also
almost did.
like, yeah, I just think that was really good.
But you started the conversation, which
yeah,
was
it
good
was.
on your part.
It was a really weird experience, that meeting, because I did feel like, as Rosalind, I was like, oh, I'm the only one talking. which was strange. Because she was like, oh, well, I guess this was my idea. Like, I guess people were expecting me to, like, do it. Which I think was good for her in the long run. But it did mean that there was a lot of that conversation, Rosalind felt very like, oh, I am the only one who wants this to happen. Like, no one's really being receptive. Like, everyone is, like, kind of agreeing, but, like, no one's being that receptive. Like, nobody else is actively doing anything. Yeah. Like, she kind of felt like she was the only one pushing for a plan.
It's... Because how it felt from me...
Like, everyone else had a level of resistance.
Because it very much felt like your team had everything to gain, nothing to lose from this. Yeah. And the Brotherhood team had way more to lose 100%. And not really much. Like, the only thing they had to gain was, saving the world and, like, help. But it's like... So I'm gonna
saving the world.
I'm a saving the world this because I don't know how this. I'm not 100% on board with Lilith's plan.
Yeah.
So all they have to gain is saving the world. And Lilith's team has only allies to gain.
Yeah.
And they gained God's blood from this as
well.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, like, it was to just do that ritual to make the banishment ward thing.
Oh, and they used all the God's blood for the ritual. And we're 100% certain of that.
I think so, because I don't think Harold would have given any more than was absolutely necessary for the spell.
Would
Harold was in charge of that? I think so. Harold would have fucking done some research. Like, as much as Harold is kind of the, like, dumb, impulsive one of the three dads, Harold had such a, like, hatred for the fact that there was a demon he was being forced to work with that I think he would have been so careful.
Yeah. I just feel like Lilith has ways. I think Harold was as careful as he could be, would have done everything he could, but Lilith still has ways.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very intrigued on the God's blood, because I don't know. I'm just intrigued on it.
We found out there's 3 planes.
Yeah, there are 3. Which I'm like, okay, hell plane, mortal plane, ghost plane, right? Like astral plane type thing.
I thought it was more biblical.
Yeah. I was thinking heaven.
Because in my head, there's not a heaven one, because there was a god one, and then the demons like took it over. But maybe I'm wrong. That's
the thing. If the demons
took it over, because in my head, there's not heaven. There's never been heaven.
Well, that's the thing. If the demons took it over, it's still a separate plane. It's just also occupied by demons.
Yeah, but what I mean is that like gods and demons are like on the same plane, and they were having a war, and the demons won and got control of that plane.
That makes sense.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
That makes sense. How I've been thinking about it, which might be wrong.
I mean,
that makes sense then.
Yeah, because the ghosts exist.
Yeah, the ghosts.
Because Eloise disappears in the daytime, like, she's on this.
No, it makes sense.
So
the third plane is the astral.
Unless I am wrong.
If only there was someone around to confirm what the planes were.
I wonder,
but he's not going to.
He never will.
I'll tell you this much for free.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, there are 3 planes. You asked about... I mean, that was later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good job on Tali for keeping secrets in the planning phase from Lilith. Because it was like... Because Lilith was very much... Because Lilith was basically like... I mean, kids' blood's very good, but do you guys have like anything else you can use? And you were like, nah.
We've got
some magic.
Yeah.
That's about it, yeah. There's nothing else.
And that was truly like bold choice for you to be doing it, but hope you roll high. You roll pretty high.
Well, it was one of those where it's like everybody else is just going to stay quiet, which looks like we're hiding something.
Yeah,
you know, like she gave it a beat for anyone else to join and was like, "Oh, I'm thinking about things."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this image of this god in a fucking cliff with this everything attached to her, and she was like, "Well, nobody said anything, so we have to give something."
Magic hat?
We've got some stuff between us that I don't know if you can draw on that.
We've got a hat. We've got a coat.
Yeah.
We've almost got a full outfit.
Yeah. Just need a pair of gloves. We're all good.
What?
No underwear.
Trousers,
no clothes.
shirt.
Hat, coat, gloves. No shoes.
A full fit.
Oh, we've got magic shoes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've got a magic corset that will always fit me that I brought back from the
true.
pocket world. Cool. That's why even though I've grown, nobody commented on, which is hilarious to me.
Which is insane to me because
it's because we all forget.
I thought at least Richard would comment.
That's not actually true, guys. One person commented in a way.
Yeah, true. And then Agatha went, she's always taller than me.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about Lucas.
Oh yeah, Lucas was like, "Oh, could you reach that down?"
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
No, but
cute.
I meant like
Madam.
at the Velvet Masquerade.
I just think at the Velvet Masquerade, they know you guys are weird. Like, weird shit happens, you know?
Yeah.
It was very much a case of Richard just kind of went, oh.
Sure.
Yeah.
We were the
How
weirdos.
tall's Richard? Am I eye to eye? But he's 6 foot, isn't
No,
he? Everybody's
Richard's
6 foot.
tall.
Yeah.
Everyone's 6 foot.
I can't remember what I said, but I feel like if he is big, but he's not.
He's not as big as Thomas was.
He's more wide.
I thought he was like...
Thomas was 6 foot.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
If I said Thomas is 6 foot, then yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you did.
He's
So-
5'10".
So he's still taller than you, but
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
still like the gap is much shorter.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I just thought that was amusing as just like a small little
It
detail.
was.
But then a plan was made, mass banishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was smart.
Good plan. Like it's a good plan.
Yeah.
And then someone found out about Rosalind becoming a warlock because somebody.
Now the thing is, that was actually.
I love a conversation that starts with, "Well, the thing is."
No. I'm not about to jump in and be deranged.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is that actually that was Taya and Rosalind being stupid.
Yeah.
Neither of us realised until after it was out of my mouth
Mhm.
that Harold might be like, how does that work? Like, that Harold might know.
Mhm.
Because so far, right, nobody I've met has seemed to know about how magic works other than other magic users.
Mhm.
Like, because Jonathan was always like, oh, Lucas, teach her stuff. And Lucas was always like, well, I'm a wizard and she's a sorcerer, so it's a bit different. So in my head, I was like, oh, well, Lucas could teach me, so they'll just presume anyone with magic can sort of teach me a bit.
Yeah.
But no, that was stupid.
Yeah, which makes sense when you're all doing the same kind of magic, and then demon magic is probably
It's a little bit different. Probably a little bit different.
Listen,
He also rolled a nat 20, I'm pretty sure, and like get an insight on like I'm pretty sure that's when like you rolled a nat 20 for
Yeah, it was
Harold.
a nat 20.
Yeah.
oh,
He knew everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
He saw your soul.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that's stupid about that is, like,
What did he think? was
Rosalind
that?
still doesn't really think of Lilith as a demon. Rosalind doesn't really think of demons as demons. Like, she does, but she doesn't. Like, she does, but anyone that's
I
not,
feel like I have to take some level of responsibility.
Yes,
You
you do.
do.
You
You do.
absolutely do.
'Cause,
100%.
like, obviously it is different from when I first saw Lilith, like, rip the guy's face off and I was like, oh, she's like Talia. But it's just that, like, Rosalind has her image of demons, which are like the hellhounds we fought.
Dog.
And then there's this woman who's, like, really nice to me.
Dog, you saw her rip off 5 guys' faces.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
demonic,
and then
dude.
she brushed my hair and told me she was proud of me.
Classic
So-
manipulate. I was gonna start buying the pen. I was gonna start buying the pen. Right, Robert's coming back. I'm losing it.
Listen, I'm not doing a good job of defending my girl.
No.
But
No, you don't think that, like, mother of all demons,
I
who
just
was
think-
alive at the battle of the gods and the demons.
I just think she's misunderstood, and I think all the books that are like blaming women for sin, like I know she's a demon.
I will say
but, like,
Talia also now
but, like,
sort of thinks this.
But I'm like, oh, she's been scapegoated.
Yeah.
Like,
And
like all women.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
Yeah.
She's still a demon.
She's still a demon.
Well, this is the thing. Talia's like,
Like-
oh, she's been misrepresented. I'm sure there's loads of things that are fake. She's still a demon, though.
Yeah.
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 That's the thing. You have to take whatever she says and does with a pinch of salt.
I
It's
know.
also-
And it's like, I know demonic instinct.
Yeah, but then Rosalind's whole thing is like seeing the good in people, like that. You know, fucking arrest me, I guess, if I think demons can have some goodness in them too.
Yeah.
Rosalind's
The goodness
fatal
is human.
flaw is empathy.
Yeah,
I'm
the
sorry.
goodness in this one when they have good is the human. It's the half human.
Yeah, but that.
Yeah, and
doesn't
being
mean
raised
that
by
it's
Gilbert
just
and
that she's-
Amelia.
Yeah, but I just sorry. Okay,
That's
Rosalind.
dude.
No,
That's,
but also, if you're thinking of it that way, look at the fucking people around us. Which of us is the worst person out of us all? Which of us has the worst instincts, the most murderous instincts, the most evil instincts?
Yeah, but Rosalind doesn't.
climbing up the ranks.
She's not done anything
Agatha
like
has
that.
no well, I mean,
Well,
she's got that fucking
but that's the thing.
card.
The amount of times now Agatha's just kind of been like, "I'll just shoot him."
That's true.
That is true.
She's got the what?
The card, the Morningstar card.
Who's got the...
I do.
Oh, I thought you meant like somebody in game had taken it.
No.
But But Rosalind doesn't see Talia as that. Like, Rosalind would never say Talia has the worst instincts out of everyone.
Which is literally insane. Because
That
in
doesn't- yeah.
the conversation, Talia was like, I killed someone. And Rosalind was
Yeah.
like, that's an accident. And Talia went, no, it wasn't.
No, it
yeah,
wasn't.
but like, that was a one-time mistake and you were really... Like, she does understand, but like, listen, I'm digging myself
fellas-
off. I don't know what the point of
Fellas, is
continuing
it a
this
one-time
conversation
mistake to murder someone?
No, Rosalind...
solely
I
off the
made an oopsie whoopsie.
Okay, but my point is, you did that and then had a whole conversation with me about, like, I don't want to be that person, I don't want to do that again, I hate that I did that. And Rosalind's like, okay, bad people don't feel like that. Do you know who doesn't feel like that? The Viscount Edward
my
Sullivan, who
God.
I share a house with.
Scare
That's
me.
actually the worst person at this table.
What are you doing now?
Who, again, has his soul tied to a demon.
Yeah, I know, but that's irrelevant. That's because he's a man, like in Rosalind said.
You just
I-
have-
Oh no, you speak your you speak your shit.
DM is peeking around the set
Yeah.
corner.
we just have to play the cards we're dealt with.
Yeah, that was a weird thing for you to say to
Interesting
me.
turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Harold.
When?
After we finished
After,
the meeting.
Because-
after
yeah,
me and
'cause-
Harold stopped
And I was
arguing.
like, yeah.
But that
I've
argument.
just decided this is done then.
But yeah, so we got very distracted by the fact that we haven't even covered Harold's response
It's
to
truly
this
like
yet.
I've left these 3 episodes like I'm so proud of these girlies. They're all doing great, and now I'm sat here like these girls are gonna be the goddamn death of me. They're gonna kill me.
Okay. I actually really am glad I had that interaction with Harold.
Yes.
I think in the long run that was good.
Yes,
And
I
I
agree.
think it showed a lot of how much Rosalind has grown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I think
I
it was
agree.
actually so
I agree.
good.
I completely agree.
I agree. I think it also shows how much growing there is still left to do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
As long as we're aware that.
Because I think every point Rosalind made to him was really valid.
Yes.
And Rosalind, you know, she doesn't operate thinking everybody has the same level of empathy that she does, but she does operate on a level of like, you know, she has so much empathy for people that that's how she sees the world. And she's like, okay, but Harold, but if you understand the position I am in, you actually can't fault me for this. Like, I did what anyone would, like, this is the situation I was put in by all of you.
Yeah.
You know? And that sucks. And I'm not blaming you. And you had your own issues as well. But unfortunately, that's all I could do because this is where I've ended up.
Yeah.
Because of everyone's actions.
And that whole argument, it was one of those things where it's like you were both saying stuff, and it's like I agree with some of
Yeah.
the things you're saying, and I agree with some of the things
Yeah.
Harold's saying. Like it's because it's like yes, you didn't have any
Mhm.
like really looking back at it, your choices were very limited.
Yeah.
And I do not blame you for the choices you made.
Yeah.
And I can understand Harold's point of view
This
because
is almost cold, by the way.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
because of like Harold's like experiences
Mm.
and knowledge and everything they've gone through is like yeah, but you don't. Especially the line, I fear they have lost you.
Yeah.
because
That
it's like
got me.
that's like yeah, like you are tied
Mhm.
to the. It's like yes, I understand this is a decision you made for the good of everything.
Mhm.
This does not go away,
Yeah.
and they might lose you.
Yeah.
But
And-
we're just not going to. So.
The thing is, that is something Rosalind knows herself, but that was her decision to make.
Yeah.
That was all she could do. You know?
What's an interesting thing if they lose Rosalind because Rosalind is
Yeah.
the thing that's making them better,
Yeah.
and if they lose you, they won't be good.
Yeah. I had something else that I was going to say, and I've forgotten what it was, but it was about this. But it was really interesting because I think we saw a lot of the human in Harold through
Yes,
that. Because you
absolutely.
could see how much he actually is struggling. Because the
Yeah.
amount he was like, my best friends, you're talking about my best
Yeah.
friends. And it was a really interesting one of like 2 very different perspectives on
Yeah.
the same people and events.
Because it's really like
And you could see how hurt he was about the fact that he's lost them and he's the last one and he is not at full strength.
yeah,
And like, you know, we've all come in and had to make all these decisions. And you could feel his love for everyone. And again, I think that's why he was so like, Rosalind, what the fuck have you done? Because, you know, as much as he doesn't have any like particular specific like super great relationship with Rosalind is somebody who's grown up in the same family, you know, like he's watched her grow up
His
with his
best friend's
child.
daughter.
Yeah, and like he called her Rosie in that conversation. And that got me because I was like, oh, you think you still see like the 5-year-old that I was that you called that, like, and that's who you're being like, oh my god, you've like given yourself away to evil.
yeah.
Like, and I understand and empathise with all of that, but, you know, Rosalind still came back to, like, this is the situation you guys made me end up in. Like, you know...
I think, if I think maybe from Harold's point of view that like, he's seeing his daughter and his nieces grow up. And, like, that can be scary to see the young people around you get older and change, you know?
It's really, like, one of those things where, like, you guys have known your dads all of your life. Harold has known his best friends for longer than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they would have known each other for their whole lives.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, like
they've
an
got,
immense...
like, 30, 40 years of
Like-
friendship before we even came along.
it's, like, an immense...
I don't know how old they were, you know?
It's, like, it's one of those things where it's, like... I can just understand. It's one of those situations where it's like everyone's right and everyone's wrong, and it kind of sucks the situation that we're in.
But I'm very glad Rosalind, because I wasn't expecting, like, I don't know, that wasn't a situation I'd ever anticipated. And I was actually really glad, like, as Taya, I'm so glad Rosalind has had a chance to hash it out with one of the dads.
Yeah.
Like, and the dad that is, you know, the one to hash it out with, because she doesn't really have a problem with Gilbert. And obviously Frederick is so overwhelming and is also now insane, probably.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll get there. But, like, I'm glad Rosalind did have her chance to be, in her way, she didn't fully get there, but, like, hold them accountable. And I'm glad that happened. And I'm so glad that Madam was there to referee. Like, that situation would have been so much worse otherwise.
Because it would have just
like,
been two people shouting at each other.
The thing is, Rosalind would have had a meltdown and become incoherent. Harold would have left. Harold wouldn't have listened to her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so fucking grateful, once again, Madam being the mother we all need, just being like, okay, everyone, can we take a...
people falling back in their chairs
Yeah.
high
I know.
Right.
Which
Like,
is...
as Rosalind, I was so like, oh my god, thank you. Because she made Harold listen to me.
Yeah.
Harold was switched off. The first things I was saying, like, when she started getting emotional, when she started being like, okay, well, my dad didn't fucking train me, so what did you want me to do? And Madam was like, okay, because Harold wasn't listening. Harold had switched off, like, and Madam made Harold stay in his fucking seat, and I got to finish my point.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that he got to hear it.
Which is needed.
And that Madam calmed me down as well.
Yeah.
Like, so I was able to then articulate myself more, like, calmly.
Coherent, like...
Because she was about to go down a, like, complete meltdown. And she managed to then actually, I think, make her point in a way that made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where, like, Harold also got to say all his points as well, because it's like, okay, I've listened to what you said, I still need more, because I feel like Harold listens to what people say and needs like 10 minutes to like sit down and just kind of be like, all right, let's take in all the points.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, I hear what you're saying, these are just my points.
Yeah, it was just like being able to take a breather and like listen, that Harold and Rosalind would never have been able to do on their own.
So now let's hear whatever
Why do you think that's a bad thing?
I
Because
don't
it
think it's
wasn't
a
for
bad
you.
thing.
She cut in when she found out you've got magic from somebody else.
Yeah.
It wasn't about calming you down. It wasn't about refereeing the situation.
It was.
It was about finding out how she can get power.
I think...
No.
Like,
Absolutely.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
let me speak!
Okay, I have a point.
That she was getting involved in business that has nothing to do with her.
No, I needed her.
Yeah.
She saw I needed her. She knows Rosalind. She's watched Rosalind have multiple meltdowns. I like to think she cares about me. I don't know how you guys feel.
I agree.
I don't deny that it was partly for you. I think she picked her moment.
I don't think she did. She picked the moment Rosalind's voice started to rise and Rosalind started to cry.
Yeah.
She picked the
'Cause that
moment
was
Harold started switching off and tears were coming into my eyes.
Because she could have come... Because she found out about the whole thing way before this whole thing.
Yeah.
It could have just been a... like that. And also, what did she gain from... Like, what did she gain about... Like, because it wasn't a case
She found out that you can get magic from Lilith if you make a deal with her.
She found out that, like... She was already finding that out. Like, she...
Yeah.
This was, like... She didn't have to
this was explicit. She went, what happened? She found out what it was that the situation was.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think that's bad.
I don't think it's bad to help somebody who is struggling and facilitate a conversation that needs to happen, and at the same time look into something that is ultimately to help protect yourself and your people in a dangerous situation you have been dragged into by the people who keep showing up at your house with demons, with dangerous magic users, and going, we're here now, you don't have a choice. Like, she needs to fucking protect herself. I want her to have magic.
Yeah.
I want her to.
I do.
Because she's gonna die.
Yeah.
I want her to
gonna
have
die.
magic. Talia...
Is classist. Never mind.
It's a bad person.
I'm
Well,
joking.
Talia knows that Agatha doesn't.
I'm very... Right, okay, because all these points make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just
And, like,
disagree.
as more logically, like, I
As
agree,
me, it
I
makes
agree.
sense.
But, like,
We're playing Deranged Girls.
Sorry. Like,
Did you apologise to our camera? And these are the opinions we're listening to.
Wow!
I think just give the two, like, we've gone through trauma.
Absolutely.
So have I.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we've gone through a specific trauma with this woman.
Mm.
So let us kind of gather our thoughts.
I just think
I don't know how
that
to articulate it.
given that our last interaction was
Her telling you the things.
Yeah.
her telling us all of that.
I'm sorry if you guys feel attacked. That was not the intention. I just think...
It's not so much attack.
But you guys
it's
didn't
just
really
like,
do anything wrong in that, like, the situation. Like, Talia and Agatha
Yeah.
handled it. They were just silent.
They were just silent.
They were just
Yeah,
silent.
I was like almost about to speak up myself, and then Madam B. And so that was another
Yeah.
point. That
At what point were you going to speak?
It was when you started, when
Yeah.
your
Talia
voice
almost
started
did
to
as
raise,
well.
because I was like, I don't want my best friend to fight with my dad. I almost started to berate Harold,
Lol.
Yeah.
and
Same.
but she stepped in.
Yeah. I do think...
And like maybe that's a point that I as Morne just didn't open my mouth soon enough. But from Agatha's point
I
of view,
do think
that's
though,
her just being interrupted.
I get that, but I do still think even if Agatha had started saying that, we still would have needed her as referee, because
Yeah.
you're close to me and you're close to Harold, and it would have still been
It would have
messy.
still been
I
messy.
guess.
It needed the neutral observer party.
Madam B, I understand your... Once again, there is space, and I understand your feeling. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate this has happened so soon after.
Yes, that's
what
the
has
biggest
happened.
thing.
Because that's the thing. I don't think Talia wouldn't have been even slightly like about it if it hadn't been that was the last situation and it was 2 days ago.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's truly like it's
sure.
it's really unfortunate. It's really upset that it's happened so
Yeah.
soon. But I think Madam B in this situation did everything right.
I agree.
Another thing, I also don't like that you are only acting this way about Madam B because
No,
I
mean,
like,
it's not entirely because of Agatha, but it is very... Everything to do with Madam B to Talia is related to Thomas.
Yeah.
I suppose.
And everything relating to Thomas, Talia will entirely defer to Agatha, given the relationship between them.
Which is fair.
Yeah,
Which
100%.
You know?
I get
So it's
that.
not that it's Agatha's fault that Talia's acting this way, because
Okay,
that's not what it is.
What
at
it
all.
actually is Talia trying to help her friend in the way she thinks she can help the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's one of those situations where I think
Like,
everyone at
whether
the
or not
table...
that's correct, Talia's intentions are to help Aggie.
Yeah.
I think everyone at the table did end up acting correctly, because it's one of those situations where if you guys stood up and then, told Harold off,
Yeah.
there still would have been a moment of being like, well, we still need to continue this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because telling Harold off would have, once again,
Done nothing.
But
Harold would have just
he
left.
walked off
Yeah.
anyway. He left anyway.
He did, but he finished the conversation.
He finished the conversation
I
first.
suppose. Yeah.
I think if you two had both also started berating him, he would have just left immediately.
Yeah, and then there is no guarantee that this plan would have
Yeah.
gone through. There's no way he would have agreed. Like,
Yeah.
there's a chance he would have been like, well, I'm not going to get them the God's
Yeah.
blood. It was a
Yeah.
conversation that needed to have a full stop.
Yes.
Madam B,
Yeah.
in my opinion, provided the
Yes.
position for a full stop.
Yeah, I agree.
She was the semicolon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I love a semicolon.
So do I.
They're not
Do you know
used
what I
enough.
used to love? What was it? Semicolon, however, comma.
Oh, that's nice.
I love a semi.
Semicolon, despite of that fact, comma.
Mm.
Oh.
I think
Rio's like, okay, the show?
these two people are English tutors sometimes. It's crazy. Like, they just talk
By the
about
time
things.
this comes out, not anymore.
I am still.
I just want to
We're still on
say,
this.
Harold's threatening Lilith, I think, was also really good. Cause
iconic.
Yeah, truly.
Talia was really like, yeah, we'll gut you.
Because
What did he say to her?
It's like, if
I don't
anything
remember.
I don't know the exact words, but it's like, if anything does end up happening to her, if she's end up being lost, if anything really bad ends up happening to her because of her being tied to you,
Yeah.
I do not care what happens to me, I will gut you.
Yeah, no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
Why don't I remember that being said?
I don't know, because you were
You
too
were,
busy
like,
like,
calming
Lilith, I
yourself
love
down.
you.
What was happening with Rosalind? I don't know. She was probably
You had just had that argument
Yeah.
with Harold.
Yeah. I think... Yeah.
Because that was straight after he said his points to you, and then it was kind of turning to Lilith and being
Yeah.
like, I will get you your God's
I think
blood.
I was
But-
digesting what he
Yeah.
said to me,
Yeah.
so I
No,
wasn't
but that was
really-
iconic. Talia was really like, yeah, agreed.
Yeah, absolutely, and
Yeah.
that was a good moment. That was a good full stop to that conversation with Lilith. It's like,
Yeah.
I'll get you the God's blood. We'll work on this plan together. But if anything happens to Rosalind because of her tie to you, I don't care what happens, I will get you. And it was like, brilliant, good. It's nice to have like
It's nice that after all of that, it was
That's nice.
It was a very much like, despite all that, you are still one of the top priorities.
Yeah.
Despite all that, like, you're still family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a very I don't really have any other notes for this episode.
Well,
to
yeah,
be
it
honest.
ended with him walking
Yeah,
out.
So it's like
that
I think
was
that's
the
a
end of
good
that.
and then now
And then
we're
episode
up to 55. Started with Lilith and Talia talking.
Oh yeah, you asked about planes of existence, which felt very apt for everything that then happened, that we'll get to later.
Sometimes things happen and I'm like, oh, that's why people think we're scripted.
We're just too good at our jobs.
I mean, yeah, you were asking about like, oh, if the banishment stuff happens, can someone be of two planes? Which I think is a very apt question.
we knew that Gilbert had been portaled away.
Somewhere.
We didn't know that it was banished.
No, I meant like the word, not the spell.
Yeah.
You know?
But given what she'd said about like, if you're on a plane that's not yours, like, you'll pop back.
Yeah.
Part of it was like,
He's not popped back.
yeah, I don't know. It was all just very like, she just needed confirmation of it. Like it wasn't that she like had no idea. Like we all knew that that was the case and that it would probably be the same for her. But like, she just needed to know.
What was it like for you speaking directly to Lilith? Because you've not done that before.
It was...
Yeah, she sniffed you. That was weird.
She found out what you were by sniffing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed that she... Like, Talia was like, oh, you already know.
Yeah. But that was very much like
She like confirmed it.
That was either like a full confirmation for her, it was a full confirmation to you to be like, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
And you know me.
Yeah. The thing that I did think was interesting about that conversation, which I don't know for certain because Talia doesn't roll insight because what's the point? I'm only going to roll a 4. Was that she didn't give any impression about whether Talia was asking for Gilbert. Even though she knows we're looking for our dads.
Yeah.
It was very like, no, the whole conversation is about this banishment spell.
Yeah.
Whether or not I'll come back and she can put things in place so that I come back. Because I thought all of us were going to go.
Yeah. When we're in... Can I talk? When we were in the ballroom and we were all still there, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's why she made it special so you wouldn't get... Oh no, because she made it so you wouldn't get stuck there.
But maybe...
Well, because I thought we were all going and it was be that so I come back. But what it actually was it must have been you banish the demon-y people.
Yeah.
And
You
she
don't
made
get
the
demon.
exception that I didn't.
That's scary though, that everyone in that room was a demon.
Yeah.
We'll get
But
there.
we'll get there. But yeah, it was good. It was interesting because, like I said, after all of this research that Talia had done with Lilith, she's very like not as much as Rosalind is because she's still like, that's a whole demon and I know you have ulterior motives
As opposed to a half demon.
As opposed to a half demon. But it was kind of like, it's still that like, I still think you've been misunderstood.
Yeah.
Like I still, because of how many stories there were.
Yeah.
It was still like, it was especially because, I can't remember how Lyndon phrased it, but when I was finding out about the research, it was about her like being a seductress and an enchantress and all of that. And it was really like, I'm sure she is. We know she is. Yeah. But like,
that is what men like to say about women. They don't like.
Absolutely. Like, that's the thing. Because when I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't trust Lilith. There's a point in my brain that just goes, it's because you have a man part of you, and I'm just kind of like, no, I just don't trust it. Do I?
No, but it's also like she would have. If I found out that some things say that she was the first wife of Adam, like I know that whole story, which is she got cast away because she had her own opinions.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And this is what I'm so interested in if we ever find out, confirmed the Lilith lore in Demons and Daughters verse that is true. Because it really makes all the difference on how we all feel about Lilith. If the Adam's wife story is true in this one, or if it's not, and then if it's not, to what degree is it a woman was punished and became a demon?
Yeah.
Because that's very thematic for the whole show,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I'm just excited to see where that goes.
I want nothing more for me to be wrong about Lilith, and Lilith genuinely does have the whole planet in her best interest, and I want nothing more for that to be the case.
I would love to be proven wrong because I'm terrified of her right now.
I'd like to be proven
It's
right.
also just like it's the first time that Talia's spoken to anyone that has any demon in them. That's not
He's a
Gilbert when
demon.
she didn't know about it.
You
That you're
spoke
aware of,
briefly,
anyway.
didn't you, when you went to go collect Rosalind for the funeral?
Yeah, but
like that wasn't a conversation.
and I didn't know what she was then.
Yeah, true. That's right. You did try and have a sniff. Sorry, our tech crew's dealing with something.
Yeah.
It's fine, we'll edit this out. Now, I was going to take that off so that will stop clicking, but if I just pull that out, then it's just going to switch the other cable.
Oh.
I mean, I can just turn this off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to try and do it without interrupting.
It's fine, because I'll edit this out. I've got loads to edit anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really... Talia's very interested in Lilith
Yeah.
in a way that I didn't think she would be. Like, she because... I don't know. I don't know what her views are right now.
That's fair.
That's fair.
But,
You
like,
can
I
edit,
think
like-
she just wants to, like... She just wants to
know
things about her.
Yeah.
And, like, what she knows. And, like, she's very interested in the war that happened.
Yeah.
And, like, first-hand information about things. And I think she, given what she knows about Lilith, I don't know, I think she feels like maybe Lilith would just, like, sit and tell her things
Yeah.
once this is all out of the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because she seems very, like, so far, like, take control of your own stuff, look into what you're interested in, and, like, why shouldn't you know about the world?
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, it's like, Talia's like, yes, you are a demon. But so far, so many of your views are my views as well.
This is why I shouldn't get so much flack for being a Lilith lover and defender, because, like, she's right. Like, she has so many, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, she's actually been better to the girls than most adults we've ever met.
So just take the pearl necklace off.
Yeah. It's to protect me from the
Yeah.
Viscount.
Oh, and if it really wanted to protect you, you could just take it off and put it on whenever you want.
Oh. Yeah, but then the Viscount could, like, rip it off me, kill me.
And then you can rip off his shit.
I couldn't. I've got +0 strength.
Oh, Charlie can rip off his shit.
He's probably also +0 strength.
No, because he's also, like, been in the
a
army.
soldier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't really a soldier.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Well, no,
He's a
that kind of
captain
stuff.
who paid for
But
his
then
role.
Lilith was also like, you should have a bath.
Yeah.
You stink of her.
That
which
was
is
really funny. Oh,
Yeah, sending to Frederick was the next thing that happened.
Fuck me.
And the note I've written down, Frederick's brain is fully fried.
yeah.
I
The thing
don't
that's-
know if I can talk about this.
The
I
thing
will,
that was
but,
so
like,
funny about that was, like, you were saying that you had something that you were going to do, and I didn't
I couldn't do
necessarily.
it.
I
I
knew what
didn't
it was.
read- I
I was
didn't read
really
the
upset that
rules,
plan
like-
couldn't happen.
I should have
Yeah.
read the rules on sending.
Yeah, I
So-
figured out what, but sorry, just real quickly before we go into it, because Talia was already going to speak to you about sending, and then it was like, interesting which way round that was going to end up happening, and if that made a difference.
Well, the thing I was going to do
Which I
was
knew
see
about.
Archibald.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
guess.
I am so upset that couldn't happen.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have made a difference anyway.
Because
He would have just been, it would have been the same message back, just like
Yeah.
about Archibald
we
instead.
just said Archie instead of Rosie,
Yeah.
you know?
But like, that sucked for Rosalind. Because in my head, I sort of felt like Rosalind had the same experience I did, where that was her plan, and then she was actually thinking about everything she's read about sending and been like, oh fuck no, I can't do that. Like, I think that's what, like, Rosalind had the thought process.
And
That was a
Like,
lot.
that was bad. That was so
I
much.
mean, I already had the idea of like lost, broken, scattered.
I mean, we
That's
knew his brain was
Yeah.
fried. Harold told
Yeah.
us, like,
Just the level of
He's a bit scatterbrained.
yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. Like,
no.
it was
Yeah.
so horrific.
It was the fact that it was so awful, and then it was just sort of like,
And I
there's
said,
nothing we can do about that
Yeah.
right
Like,
now.
I don't know. Like, it didn't give me any clues
No.
on where he might be or how to get to him.
Yep.
Like, he's just somewhere, probably in a fucking gutter, like,
Yep.
talking to himself like that. And,
Well,
like,
he's probably in an asylum.
yeah, maybe. But, like, who knows?
Yeah.
Because, you know...
But if he is in an asylum, you've, like, got contacts who can look
I
into
do.
it.
I'm now rich and fancy, and I
Yeah.
can go where I want.
We'll make Albert look
Exactly.
into it.
But like,
Yeah.
And he'll read a newspaper and be like, oh!
What?
it was so fucking horrific. And there's something about that is really, like, I don't know if Lyndon did this on purpose. I don't know if Lyndon remembers this. But Lyndon really made that the most horrific thing possible for me. Like, so fucking horrific. It's so bad. Oh! No, it's so horrible. I can't cope. I don't know.
Which specific bit are you on about?
All of it. Like, well, it was so bad. Like, basically, when we were creating characters, when I first wrote, like, the Rosalind backstory, which, you know, in its first form, and I sent it to Lyndon, one of the things I said was, oh my god, she would do anything for her dad to call her Rosie Posey again. And that's how it happened for the first time since she was, like, 3. So that's the worst thing ever.
Well, you did do something. You learned magic. And you got called it again.
I just, like, because he's insane.
Yes, yeah.
Because
there's
he
that.
has no grip on time or reality now,
Yeah.
you know? And that was so... And then it was, like, the fact that the only time his voice was recognisable was get out of my head. And for me, I was like, oh, well, that could be talking to this, like, fragmented, like, hysterical bit of him. Whether that's, like, his mind being insane or whether that's, like, another thing attaching to him or, like, what. But the get out of my head could have been to that voice, the first voice or whatever it is. Or it could have been to the fact that he's hearing his daughter's voice in his head and he thinks that's the same
That's
thing
the same-
taunting him
yeah.
and going crazy. Like, he doesn't think that's actually her. Like, he thinks that's more madness, is that he's hearing his child's voice. And, like, that just sucks. And I don't know what I was expecting, and I don't know what she was expecting, because she knew that his brain was fried. Like, Harold said that.
Yeah.
But it was just so much worse than anything I could have imagined. Like, I don't know why, because obviously it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, that sucked so bad. And it was so hard, because that, then again, just like, Rosalind has been so conflicted for so long on whether or not she wants to find Frederick. Like, she does, because it's the right thing to do, and that's how to do everything. But, like, herself personally, whether she wants to have that experience. And, you know, that just reinvigorated this desperation, because, like, oh my god, he's in that state and he's out in the world somewhere all alone. And that thought was so fucking unbearable. Especially when, like, there was no way. Like, I went to Lilith and basically it was like, well, there's no way we can do anything now. Like, there's nothing we can do except just keep looking for him.
Yeah, it's
like,
it's one of those cases where it's like, it's kind of, because he's still alive and he's still out there somewhere. You have that confirmation.
Yeah.
If he was being held somewhere by people, they would have killed him by now. So at
It
the
has
very
been a
least-
month.
Yeah, so like, he's still alive. It's like a weird bittersweet thing of being like, he's still alive.
Yeah, but that was going off of, like, propriety as well.
I guess. But yeah, it's, you know, I know he's alive and he's on this plane of existence. But that's not nice when I know the state he's in. Like, and that he doesn't have anyone good around him, probably. Like,
No,
that
definitely not.
whole situation was just so fucking upsetting. And it was just so much more upsetting because there was nothing to go off of.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing I could have done. Like, and it made... Like, obviously, the ball went very quickly into combat, but I, like, as Rosalind, felt so much less prepared for the ball. Like, because when I was making the plan, I felt quite prepared to go and do it, and that was why I'd become a warlock, and I'd sort of been building up to it. And then that sending happened, and, like, she was just destroyed. And I know that dice are dice, but, like, the way we always see it is, you know, the dice weave this narrative, and they always somehow fucking know. And, like... the reason I kept fucking missing and, like, I wasn't prepared for anything and I was so shit in the battle for so much of it is because Rosalind was just, like, that fucked her up so badly. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen next, but, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the next note I have is nobody has asked Albert about what he found out in his time away, but I guess you guys will just ask when everything's done.
Yeah.
I was
In my head,
planning-
it was just sort of like, we need to get this out the way.
That is something that I'm planning to.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's the only.
combat.
That's like that because
Yeah.
that's the only thing. Because it's like you guys will ask eventually. There was just a moment where I was like, I can't believe they've fucking forgotten about Albert again. I can't believe they've forgotten about Albert again. And you
No, I
almost
don't-
We
did.
had-
Well,
I
no,
was
but
so
also he
hyper-aware.
only got in my head he got back like
The day of.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
you know,
talking
it wasn't
about-
like he was around for a few days.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about you guys forgot
And I
because
think-
when you were listing and for the people in the combats, like so we got this person, this
Yeah.
person, this person, this person. Oh, and Albert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is also a case of like practically for doing a show, like that's something we want to role play that conversation, obviously.
Yeah,
so we're going to
absolutely,
leave
yeah.
it for time where there's like
100%.
space to do
Yeah.
that.
I just wrote that down for me
But
because I'm
yeah.
like, I really want to know. I also wanted to know about the fish.
Yeah.
Fish!
Like, would he have at least brought the
Did
fish
he
back?
bring the fish?
Because that's the thing. I feel like
I
that's
want to know,
something
did he
guess
speak to Seth?
I guess
Mm.
we'll
If
If
find
Seth was
out.
looking after Millie.
I mean, that's what I'm
That's
going to have.
true.
I'm going to talk to
Holy
Albert.
shit, Albert and
Yeah.
Seth having a conversation. Never. wouldn't
Crazy.
expect
Never
that to
crossed your
happen.
mind.
Never really crossed my
Yeah.
mind. That would have. It would have just been annoying for Seth, I think, but that's fine.
I'm trying to do my work.
Why are you talking to me? I have water to boil.
Oh yeah,
no,
Archie's
Archibald's back now.
Oh, that's-
Oh,
yeah.
no, but he doesn't have boiled
He doesn't
water.
have
Yeah, but
Well, what's
Rosalind
it-
mentioned it and he was like, oh, interesting, I'll have to try that. So
Yeah,
maybe
and if
he's
you-
back
and if-
obsessed with
and
it
if you're
again.
obsessed with it again, actually, that's your fault. How dare you?
Uh,
But the party started. The speech was made.
yeah.
The
That
dance-
The
was
party
hard.
happened so quick.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
and like I knew that it was going to be really early on because we'd sort of
Well, we
said,
said it
has
was
to
going to be the
early.
first dance. Like,
But you know when you're still like, oh my god, it's the first dance.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's one of those things where it very much felt like the reason why I like how quick it went is because you
It's so
guys,
good.
you guys didn't do the engagement party for an engagement party. You
No.
did the engagement party purely for the trap.
yes.
Like, and
Yeah.
so it's
Like,
like
it
the
was
speech
complete
happened.
facade.
You didn't really listen to the speech happened.
Yeah.
People are like people all
yeah,
around.
that's
Yeah.
what
The
it felt like
first
to me.
dance is starting.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
right, concentrate.
Yeah.
And
it's
then-
starting.
hmm
Everyone,
No, that is so scary.
everyone in that room.
That is so fucking scary.
That's so many people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Not a single person. Everyone.
I don't know about you guys, but from the start of the party into the start of the combat was just like for Rosalind, I don't know how it was for you two, just like complete overwhelm. Like just complete oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
Like the whole time. Like it was crazy. Like and that was, you know, everyone disappearing. I was just so like
It wasn't
Mhm.
overwhelmed for Talia, but I think she goes into battle mode.
But the thing is as well is that you could be in battle mode from the start.
Yeah.
Rosalind went in being like, okay, we all know this is bullshit, but I'm gonna smile and look pretty and do
Yeah.
a dance before I then have to fight
Yeah.
all of these people.
Which makes
And
sense.
So she was kind of holding like all of her old feelings about like, okay, time to perform now. Like plus, okay, and now I'm gonna fight a bunch of people. You know?
Yeah.
But then they all disappeared.
They
All
all
of them.
disappeared.
And
Apart
then-
from three. Apart from you lot and
Yeah.
three people. One who you recognise, John Newman.
yeah.
I wonder if. No,
What?
Lilith wouldn't have like been part of the spell.
Well, Lilith wasn't there.
No.
Well, yeah, but she wasn't there after everyone who had demon in them. But then she kept me out, so
Yeah,
she
she
would
would
have
have
come
kept us. I'm very
She-
interested in the fact that Lilith just fucked off. Where is
Yeah.
she? What's she doing? When's she coming back?
back. Watching
Yeah, she's just watching. But anyway, everyone fucking disappeared.
everyone,
Everyone disappeared.
That is so scary.
and I like didn't have time in the moment to
What
process
that-
what
No.
that meant.
But I don't think any of us as
Just because you were
characters
about to
expected
list.
it to be everyone. I don't even think
No.
Lilith and the Viscount did. I think we were all like, oh, most of these people are going to be doppelgangers.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a handful of humans. But like, no. Which means there's more than we thought there were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's like they probably didn't send all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the thing, if it was like loads of them but there were still some humans left, then I would have been like, that's at least most of them.
Yeah.
But they filled the room and there was no humans, so I'm like, who's
Wait.
left?
Wait. Sorry.
Dr. Monroe,
Who looked after the
mad
king.
fucking king. It's his fault. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and the anger in Harold when he was like, we trusted
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like, that was a betrayal.
Which leads me to think he's the one that made Frederick go mental.
Maybe.
Because he's looking after
Yeah.
the Mad King.
Yeah,
He's a doctor,
yeah.
and
He-
Harold
yeah.
knows that he specifically turned on them.
And Harold was so specifically angry at him. Like,
Yeah.
Harold had a vendetta.
Yeah, against
Harold
him.
didn't care about the other two.
No.
Yeah.
So if he works with the Mad King, he's a doctor, and Harold is angry. Like, he's
And
the one that
of us
fucked up
that's
Frederick.
gone mad, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a guy with a glaive and the tattoos that
What
we
is
know
a
what that
glaive
means.
again?
It's
That's like death.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a scythe.
That's a scythe. It's
No,
like
no,
a
no.
Oh no, a glaive is like a
it's like a
massive
big
blade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because Susanna for our live shows has a glaive.
Yeah.
And
That's like
I
a
was-
two-handed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was told
blade.
I can't have that under my skirt.
Yeah.
It's just too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
Yeah.
makes me think, I don't know what class he is.
Well, he's got magic of some sort.
Yeah, he might be a paladin. Because
Oh.
if the tattoos are like armor spells,
Yeah,
and
like
paladins are like
like
armored
a-
fighters.
yeah, like
That's a good idea.
yeah.
But I've
like
never
a-
thought of paladins existing in this world before. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, it could be very much the case of like it's like a paladin, but like, well, I actually have no idea how
like
this would
lore
work.
blended
Like
for
lore
this,
blended
yeah.
for this because it like
Where it's like a major demon instead of
Yeah,
a
'cause
it's
god.
Well,
'cause
because the
they-
other guy's
'cause-
a warlock. Monroe's a warlock.
So
Yeah.
it's like their patron, and it's
No,
like
sorry, I've just realised that Monroe's a warlock who fucked up Frederick, and Frederick's gonna, like, know at some point that I'm a warlock now, so that's cool for me. Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, I mean, I was just going to go with like lore reasons why it makes sense if like it's a like I don't know
Yeah.
Like a greater demon.
yeah I'm because I've never looked at any of the classes in detail, but
love
I know there are
paladins.
different like paladin like oaths and stuff, and there's some of
Yeah.
them that are like
There's the Oathbreaker one.
there's
which
the
is
Yeah.
Oathbreaker one, which
interesting.
But there's also like paladins are all about worship,
Yeah.
right? Because
demon
you worship to your god. If
Yeah.
he's a demon worshipper,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to a
'Cause-
greater
Because all
demon.
paladins do is, like, smite.
because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there is I might be very wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is a paladin thing out there that's like evil.
There's
dark
Oath
paladin.
of Vengeance,
Yeah,
and
I
there's
think that's the-
Oathbreaker
yeah,
paladins.
I think it's probably not Oathbreaker because it still appears that it's probably that. So
Yeah.
Oath, that's probably the one. Not to
Mm.
metagame too much. I'm just very curious
No,
because I think
yeah.
I think it's
love-
very cool. These three like
Because
it's,
I love like thinking and theorizing about how Lyndon's homebrewed
Yeah.
all the D&D stuff
Uh-huh.
into
Yeah.
this very specific Regency world because I just think it's the best thing ever.
yeah.
But yeah,
He's either a paladin or like a fighter class of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but,
Because I know that we've spoken about like you can get there's like magic tattoos. that you can
yeah,
get.
Yeah.
So it could just be that,
yeah,
but it felt specific.
it did.
Talking about the three guys.
Mm.
So there's the one with the glaive, Dr. Monroe, and the
And how did Newman come back?
Magic.
I know, and I know that he's a
Magic.
necromancer, and I know, but like we ripped his head off and stomped it to a pulp.
Okay.
someone
he's
else
like, that's
someone else
mental.
is the necromancer, I think.
You think he's got necromancer magic from another necromancer?
Or there's another necromancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Could be a yeah.
I
could be
mean,
a
like
couple
he
of
was
them.
taught by.
Or it could be
Yeah.
one of the demons that like one of the others worship.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
one of them,
Yeah.
you know, at least
Yes.
has a demon patron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of them is a warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, could he, I mean he could have put there's some spells and stuff that can like feign death. Or
Yeah.
something.
False. No, that's
No,
false
false
life.
life is something else. But
No.
like there's like feign death, and it's like you like for like 10 hours or something,
Yeah.
your body appears dead. And even though it's like his head has been ripped off,
Hmm.
that does appear dead to me.
Yeah.
that's very dead.
Also, Lyndon decided, so found a way to work
Yeah,
it into
absolutely.
law.
Yeah.
Like Lyndon will just put that in the law, and I really did like the reveal. I liked because
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
just kind of like,
good.
oh, this fucker, and I liked it. That was someone that you recognised because it put you in a sense of confidence going into this fight because you sent Harold away.
Well, that was less confidence, more you're gonna die.
Yeah.
But Harold's gonna
Me-
bust back
me
in
and
when
Rick-
we need him.
We
had
had
this
this conversation, and it was very much a case of like it's a very brave thing for you to like send away one of your fighters, and I get that. And then Lilith has gone, and then the whole
Uh-huh.
thing with you goes like, oh, so
Yeah.
you're down to
No.
half your
No,
fighters.
No, because
like,
that was
oh,
the thing.
It's
Like,
Albert, Agatha, me, and the Viscount now.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
But the way that I see it as well, right? So you might come back.
at the moment, none of you know that.
Yeah,
And,
that's true. But there's
and even then, it'll be
possibility.
still like what 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harold is on. Lyndon, did you say 12 hit points?
Yeah.
Something a bit more.
But
No,
Harold,
No, but like Harold could be one shot. Easy.
But Harold will come back if he thinks we're failing.
And
Harold,
and,
if he hears
that's
you
fine.
or Albert in pain,
Yeah.
Harold is going to bust
Which
it.
will be much better for him to have saved himself
Yeah.
to come back
Yeah.
than like
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got
Because
shot
imagine-
first round.
Why is
Yeah,
Lilith gone?
If
Can she come back,
he got
please?
if he got shot, if he got killed
'Cause we can't
and then
have someone that
something
powerful
happened to
fighting
either
us.
of us, we don't have any backup.
Yeah. It is good we have backup. And it's good he listened to us.
Yeah, that was your
he listened to
20
you.
perception.
20.
And I didn't. I wasn't
something
even made to roll
persuasion.
persuasion.
I think
I
got
think
to
he
'cause-
was saving it because she's got a +8.
But I also think it was because, like, I wouldn't have been able, like, it wouldn't have worked if you guys hadn't already been telling him to go.
Yeah.
This
Like,
was everyone
every-
did something and then went, Harold, get out. And then the next person did something and went, Harold, why are you still here? And then the next person did something and was like, Harold, fucking leave, actually.
And then he was like, oh, okay, maybe they have a point.
Even Albert was like, bang, bang. All right, Dad, time
get
to
out.
fuck off. But then and the image in my head is very funny because I know this isn't how it happened. The idea in my head to make myself more calm and happy with the situation is Talia runs towards demon form and then Newman just went, and then you went, and then just gone. And it's like, because that makes me feel better about the situation. Because we didn't get to see any of your new cool stuff.
I have so much new cool shit, and I didn't get to do any of it.
That's still
Yeah,
time.
you're going to come back, probably.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
The
power of YET.
I mean, because I wanna discuss what happened with you
Yeah.
We'll do that
last.
after, because that's what we
yeah,
ended
we'll
on.
leave on that.
What else in the combat do you guys? Because it's very.
You did a fucking slay.
I shot him, 10 hit points. Shot him again, missed. He put up shield, whatever. Shot him again, 13. Shot him again, 13.
That
You
was
said
That is
so good.
36 hit points from Agatha Pentecost herself.
I love her.
So
Very
She
slow.
ate
she's
with that.
very slow.
Yeah.
She did eat.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. That was good. The rest of the combat, like, wasn't really anything remarkable yet, except that they're
It
was
really
very
powerful
early
and scary.
days.
Yeah.
Like, we were just sort of getting our feet with it, I think.
It's just
and
because-
then the thing happened.
I mean, the way that you beat the shit out of John Newman last time gave you, like, and I'm not saying, like, I don't know your mindset. Obviously, there was still fear. Everything that was still happening. But there was an underlying sense of, like, oh, we've dealt with him before.
Yeah.
This is... And then he appears to be much stronger than you previously...
That's why I was more scared this time, because I was like, oh, you've come back more powerful, and you've got these other two that are probably just as powerful as you, if not more, and you're pissed off at us.
Yeah.
And I just had another point. But the thing that is good about us having fought him before is I think everyone instinctively was like, right, don't let the others die before him.
Yeah,
We were
absolutely.
all like, he will bring them back, we know his trick now.
Yeah.
Let's not let that happen. And everybody did instinctively start hitting Newman.
Except for the Viscount.
Yeah, but he
But
doesn't
he
really
wasn't.
know.
He wasn't there.
He doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can look past that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
He's done worse though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Viscount got flanked upon as well. That was fine.
Yeah. So.
But the Viscount, like, we just know is super powerful, so I just don't worry about him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, he'll be fine.
Like
Yeah.
he's not gonna die.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame, but like he's not going to.
Bummer, bro.
Imagine we get to the end of this and he's taken all the hits and he looks really bad, and then we're just like,
Hey, we could
well,
just
now's
do it
as
now.
good as
Now's-
ever.
Now's a great
What?
time.
Funny.
But you ran up to him.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
In your demon form, you went demon mode straight away.
Yeah, I rolled the decision dice on whether I was going to do that because I really didn't know. And then, like, the dice said yes, and then Monroe pulled out a flaming sword,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like,
I need fire resistance.
I can have fire resistance if I turn into a demon.
Yeah.
So, like, I might as well.
Yeah.
I do, like, similar levels of damage with that than I do as a sword. But what?
Flaming sword, the fire.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
The
the
fire at
publishing house.
Bronton's. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I'm just joining up
No,
some
no.
dots.
Fire
absolutely.
demons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was a perfect way of to give Lyndon his 2 cents. It was a
Phenomenal.
perfect way of baiting you. To be
Yeah.
honest, it was like a
He knows his
No,
players.
because
knows
this
his
is
players,
the thing.
yeah.
I like every other fight Talia's gone into. She hasn't done that straight away. They fought for a while before
Yeah.
she's done that because she's only really ever used that in like a I'm getting a bit battered. I should probably
Yeah.
Like-
Or like, oh, everyone needs me to do this now.
Yeah.
but it was
This was really. I think this is the first time she's ever been like, well, this is how I'm starting the fight.
yeah. And
Yeah.
You know what,
And it was
Slay?
immediate. Were you expecting me to do that straight away?
It makes sense to.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's made sense to every time and she's not done it.
Yeah, but we've never really fought an enemy with a flaming sword before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was the perfect.
It really was.
Whether it wasn't, but it was fully like the perfect bait because it was like it was one of
so
those
good.
situations where, because I
You knew.
I knew what was going to
you
happen. I
knew.
did know. I did know what was going to happen. And even though you heard me back, because I still was shocked that it was happening so soon, but because I was in DM brain at the moment, and then I heard flaming sword, and then everything was happening, I was just like, don't fall for that. I was like, don't fall for the bait, don't fall for the bait. And you started doing it, I was like,
I can see Rio from where I'm sat.
Oh my
they
God.
were squatting
I
in
was
front
like,
of the TV.
in front of the TV, like squatting, like, don't do it.
Did you expect her to do it so quickly?
No, because you haven't done it that
Yeah.
way before. Like it's normally
But then-
not a last resort, but it's like you're getting.
Yeah.
Then this battle felt so much more like we're all going in, hitting hard
Yeah.
immediately. We've planned for this. We're gonna get the jump on you. So like, I do think it made sense for so many reasons. That
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
did it immediately.
And,
But it was so...
And then there was a charisma saving throw, which when I heard
Which,
that,
like-
you can hear me because when that was said, I think you can hear me go, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Maria's so good at like staying quiet throughout anything
Yeah.
that happens while we're
'Cause
filming.
I know your charisma is dog shit.
Yeah. We all do.
I have negative charisma.
Yeah.
My charisma saves are 0.
So
They're
it's
not
like,
minus.
I
which
don't
is nice.
I don't know the specific stats, but it's like you'd have to roll at least above like a 15. Like,
Yeah.
and
15 is like lower than I was expecting to have to do like a 16, 17
Yeah, like, that's what I mean.
Roll a
minimum.
17 then.
Yeah.
If meets it, beats it, and you
Yeah.
rolled a 16, that takes you down to.
15.
Oh no, you beat the spell then. No.
What was the
No,
what was the
no,
saving
I
DC?
don't have a minus to my saving
throws,
throw.
Oh, okay.
Just
What-
to everything else.
What was the
What was the DC?
15.
15? Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
rolled
15.
what, a 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, I mean, it was like a 75% chance.
Yeah. It was one of those where it was like, I knew that it would be high, but if I'd rolled over like a 12, I was like, maybe I can do this. And then I rolled a 9 and I was like, there's no way.
Just a loop. Gone. And then on your next turn, you were in. The look on your face was genuinely heartbreaking when things started getting revealed as things were going along. Because I was just sat there, I was like, oh god, Talia just needs a hug. And like, I don't really ever feel that way about Talia. Because a lot of the time, Talia's just like, alright, you're angry.
Yeah, but it's Gilbert.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
Is the thing.
It is.
Like when Gilbert comes in, like I think Gilbert is the heart of the show. Like I say this all the time, but like, yeah, I can't really form words about
It's
it.
just-
But like, you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, you were in like a confined space,
Mhm.
really.
There was a moment where I thought we'd been sent. I thought I had been sent because we were in darkness and walls, and that's not what she had imagined
No.
this hellish plane to look
yeah.
like. That I thought I've been sent somewhere else. That's not another plane, but it's more like a pocket dimension thing where I've been sent. Like I thought Newman had done it, and I thought he'd set it up
Like
to
like
take
a prison
me.
place.
Yeah, and then I thought they're gonna like bleed me for things.
Because of the patterns on the walls and the floor.
Yeah.
Can we go back and change it? What if I just.
No.
No, because that, like, I was like, you're culty, you do demon stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
You're a demon.
I've got demon blood. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna want that, and I'm chained up, and I can't move, and I can't make a sound. All I can do is look around.
You weren't chained up by you. I thought you just
Yeah.
couldn't
It-
move.
I
your
thought you
feet.
just
Magically
paralysed.
Magically
Right.
changed, yeah.
In my head, I was in chains.
In my head, you were just like frozen.
Yeah, but you were just floating in place, basically.
Okay. But regardless, I couldn't move.
Yeah, exactly.
In, like, whether I was chained or floating in place, the same implication is, I can't move, I can't make any sound, nobody can come and get me. I've got blood that that is really rare.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was over an engraved floor. I was like, they're
Shit.
gonna use me in a ritual.
It was the fact you couldn't speak that I think made it the most heartbreaking.
And because her next thought with that, thinking that it was another place or a pocket dimension, was, I don't know if Lilith's protection from this will help. Because if
Yeah.
if it was hell, she would have been like, oh, they're not going to think that I'm going to come back, but she's put something in place for that. I'm in a different place.
Yeah. But you weren't.
But I wasn't.
Were you expecting at any point to come across Gilbert so soon? or like, were you expecting at least in this episode, or at least at this point, to be coming across? Like, at what point did you go like, holy shit, holy shit?
When I heard shuffling feet, I knew who it was.
Yeah.
Because you can see it on your face, like that.
But she did. Because when I originally thought all of us were going to be banished, I did think there was a chance that we might know more, like catch a glimpse of him, or like I don't know why, but there was something of like, well, we're going to the place that he is, maybe I'll get to see him, or maybe I'll feel something, or I'll know something, or like you would be able to contact in some way with sending. And then he just spoke to me.
Yeah.
Because that never, like, that I hadn't considered at all that we would be able to properly talk, or that he would be human.
Yeah, that's the thing. It appears that he set up this whole thing for, like, you to be there specifically. Because, like, he said something like, I'm sorry that you can't do anything, but, like, I had to be certain that we could interact.
Yeah.
It was the best he could do, he said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the best he could do.
He said something like it was the best I could do to make sure you weren't there, or to make sure, like, it was to make sure of something.
Yeah, it was to make sure you were here, make sure, like, something specific. He apologised for the circumstances you're in, and then he fully showing the faith in one of his best friends, being like, Frederick will know what to do.
Yeah, that broke me a bit.
Yeah, that sucked.
Because he was the first to, like, go.
That sucked hard.
And it was the fact that, like, I couldn't say anything.
Yeah, that's why the speech thing was definitely the most heartbreaking bit about the whole thing. Because it was multiple times, he was like, tell Frederick will know what to do.
Yeah.
He did also say at one point, like, and, you know, in case Frederick
Harold
can, because, like, it definitely came to the thing of, like, he was still optimistic that, like, even if I'm gone, two of them are still there. And if Frederick's gone, Harold is still, like, not all three of us are gone.
Yeah.
There's no possibility of that, which I like about Gilbert. It's good. It's nice optimism.
It was nice in that, like, we know, and it has been confirmed, that he was setting it all up for Talia, and everybody knows this.
But she knows it explicitly now.
But it's been said, like,
by him
that, like, this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, he knew it, he set everything up for it, and, like, not that, like, this was always the plan, because, like, obviously he didn't plan to disappear and all of that, but it felt very, like, once we were older, maybe that was
like,
the plan.
The plan was for you to always be a part of
you to take his place in the Brotherhood. Yeah.
So that was nice.
It was, what was I about to say? I had
It's gonna fucking destroy her.
Yeah. When you
to leave and not be able to get back.
No, I've thought that, because I'm really like, how are you gonna just join the combat? Like, how are you going to rejoin the fight? Like, after you've just seen your dad in the flesh. And
all
then
is
come back.
flesh. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It's so funny. After, 2 weeks,
yeah.
Talia found a way around that, and Gilbert was just like, I am nude now.
But Gilbert's having this reunion with his daughter, full dong out, like...
Full cocking it. Full cocking it.
No, but it's... The other thing that I thought was interesting is his transformation is different.
Yeah.
His turning back into a human is different to Talia's.
Yeah. He rips off his...
The demon.
He pulls off the demon.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of the switch.
Yeah.
Because they're in hell.
Yeah.
That it's because they're in hell. I don't think that, like, they're different in that way. But it was
But that's something you need to
interesting.
know. Because...
It is something that I need to know. For
play
next week.
Gilbert.
But...
True.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
It'll be... I think Talia might ask Harold about it and be able to, like, piece things together of the fact that, like, it's reverse in Hell World.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's just future stuff to find out. And it was really sad when he was just like, I can't go back with you. And I was just like...
I was like, why?
No, for me, like, the thing that really kept getting me was he kept being like, I don't know if I can ever come back.
Yeah.
Like, but you're great. You're me now. You can take over everything.
Yeah, Talia was really like, no.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No. You're growing old on our plane, and I will take care of you. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Talia's never going to stop until he can come home. And if he can't, We'll see where Talia ends
Well,
up.
there's just no way, because
Yeah.
that just won't be the case.
Hardest part is letting go. So
We're never letting go of Gilbert.
We're never letting go of Gilbert.
Okay.
It's not happening.
It's just not a possibility.
We'll see.
I mean, we will.
We will see. We will see.
And we'll be
happens.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong. Just letting go is pretty hard.
He was sucked into a portal, he can be pulled out. He can be sucked out of a portal.
You can be sucked up. You can be pulled out.
He was sucked off and he'll pull
It
out.
was sucked off, pull out.
in
No,
the
suck
mouth.
off, pull out. You get me. Bada bing, bada boom.
Harold One Diamond.
We do a little suck off. We do a little pull out.
Oh my god, if we were going... If Harold was a genre of movie, it would be American Italian gangster mafia movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think there's much
That
else to say,
was
unfortunately.
destroying.
Mhm.
I sat in shock
Yeah.
for like,
Yeah.
It was quite wild.
it
Yeah.
felt like so no time but so long.
Well, like, I don't want to, like, obviously it's not the same thing, but it kind of is. As, like, you had the same reaction that you had when we first saw Harold again.
Mhm.
Because it was that thing of, like, oh, fuck, my dad's here.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the plot of the
And-
show. Like, we've been building towards these
Yeah,
moments
and,
for
like-
the whole time.
Having the possibility, oh yeah, they're gonna come back, but then it actually happens, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lyndon also definitely made it that like we need Frederick to get Gilbert back to make sure that we go get Frederick and take care of him.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
No comment.
Funny.
But then the DM sprang some very
Very
exciting
unique
news
news
for us.
that we had no idea about. And you seemed shocked that we didn't know.
No, I just kind of thought this was
No,
like...
because this is the thing.
I-
I knew that was a potential thing Lyndon had been thinking about. I thought we were all part of a conversation where he'd said that.
Yeah, no,
Were
because
we?
Lyndon had made a joke ages ago about like, oh, it would be really cool and funny if at some point you played your dad in like a Christmas episode. He never said that it was going to be.
No, it wasn't
this.
an episode. It was like, I swear we were hanging out at some point and this idea was like
Yeah,
discussed.
no, I'm not saying he spoke in an episode. I'm
I-
saying his suggestion was
Yeah.
we play our dads in a nothing
Oh.
Christmas episode.
No, this specific idea, I swear, had been... I just thought everyone
Was
knew this was a potential.
Either I wasn't there, or once again, I have no memory.
No, I
No.
think...
I
yeah.
have.
Well, I knew for certain.
I'm
you guys
co-
are going to be the dads.
I can't wait.
I'm oblivious,
It's
but
going to be so
I'm
fun.
excited.
It's going to be
I'm
so
kind of
good.
scared.
I look forward to seeing you guys in your father suits.
It's going to be
I
good.
think it's
Father
gonna be
suit.
It's
Your
gonna be
father. Yes, father suits.
Sip up.
I wanna leave. I wanna go.
I want to
I'll
leave.
rip this
I
skin
wanna
off
leave.
and I'll grow Gilbert's.
Maijai, you just did that, like, at the table on camera.
I feel like I'd have to I have to leave the room. That's horrific to look at.
But yeah, we're going to be playing our dads on the night everything went wrong for them. I say night, maybe it was a day. I don't know. But we
Could be
will
a
know.
It's exciting.
And it's kind of like, I think it's going to be a really fun insight for us and for the audience on the dad's dynamic and
Yeah,
like
it's gonna be-
what
I
went
mean,
wrong for them.
It's going to be like it's going to be really different because with everything that you're doing when you're playing
I'm
your
so
characters,
excited.
it's like what happens. Like you do something and then you do something else and like whatever. But like this is one of
We
those things
can't
where it's like
change this.
there are fixed events that will
Mhm.
have to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how you
how
as
we
them
get there.
I'm
Get
going to
there.
disappear so early.
10 minutes into a hang on, what?
What? I'm in a portal.
Yeah.
And it means that we all now get to go back and like watch all the footage of our dads to try and like do Lyndon's characters
Yes.
justice. And I think we spoke about it like with Lyndon at the end of this episode, but like it's going to be a really fun creative thing for us individually and Lyndon to kind of like meld our ideas of what these men are and like explore that fully in like a whole one shot. Like that's going to be so fucking cool.
And you know what?
You're
I-
going to have so much fun.
Yeah, and I love a flashback episode.
Uh-huh.
Right,
Especially from a different perspective.
yeah. When it comes to movies, I hate flashbacks. I think they're unnecessary. When it comes to TV shows and you dedicate an entire episode to flashbacks,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
agree.
think I mostly agree with that. I think I
Yeah.
mostly agree. There's sometimes in some movies where a flashback is like necessary or needed or entertaining or good, but that's like it's more. Yeah, I mostly agree with that statement. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess that should if there's an episode of a TV show that's set in present time and then there's a flashback, it'll hate it. An entire episode full of flashback.
Yeah, you need to fully lean into it.
Yeah,
I can't wait
agree.
for it to start with Harold like, "Dear Diamonds, keep the bed empty. Can't wait to see you again. Here's 20 gold."
I'm excited to see like how you play Harold, because I think that's the biggest difference in terms of like Harold is such like a man, like do you know what I mean, like Harold's voice and like the way
Harold,
he talks.
Harold's
And
a bloke.
Agatha's so like,
This is Agatha, this is Harold.
Like you have to go from
Pentecost.
you have to go from I can't wait to see sickly girl to bloke, you know? I look forward to
Harold's not a man,
Hello,
Harold's a
Talia.
bloke.
Harold's a bloke through and
Oh,
through.
he's a bloke.
fancy a Chinese.
Yes,
Dad!
He is the physical embodiment of
Bloke.
Sky Sports.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know the type of men I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, that's why is that so like
Sky Sports with a good heart.
It's going to be interesting to play a character that's not like full of rage all the time.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting to play a character I don't like.
Actually, I say that Fayearthur's going at the same time and Lodge
Yeah,
wasn't
but
filled
yeah,
with
but
rage.
like, got full of rage at points.
I have that effect. Robert has that effect.
But it's gonna be so fucking cool, and I can't
Excited.
wait. I think this is one of the coolest things Lyndon could ever have possibly done and sprung on us. Like
and that will be airing next week.
yeah, so tune in next week for a
I know we said at
special
the end
episode.
of the last episode.
Yeah,
that
but
it would
you
be
know
next
what
week,
that
but you know what we
means.
mean.
But
Honestly.
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I look forward to seeing
I
it.
can't wait to play it and
Yeah.
film it.
Mm.
Yeah.
I look forward to being behind there, seeing all these blokes and lads and men.
I
this
really
bloke-
want you to be some of the NPCs.
Bloke, lad,
Man.
man.
Gilbert's not a lad.
Gilbert's
Bloke.
not a lad.
gentleman.
Yeah.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Talia's a lad.
Rio said lad.
Yeah, I said lad because I was thinking, but I couldn't
Just
figure
like
out
a
who was a
little
lad.
Talia's a little gym lad.
Talia is a gym bro.
Yeah,
Talia's
there's
a
a difference
bro.
between
Talia
a gym
is a-
lad and a gym bro.
Talia is a bro.
Talia's a bro.
Ow.
Gilbert is a gentleman through and
Yeah.
But yeah.
Frederick is a
that's-
patriarch.
through. Yeah.
That's
Harry's
next week.
just
Yeah.
That's
cool.
next week. That's
So
next
tune in
week.
next week.
Tune in next week for.
Um,
Can I make the title official?
Yes.
Tune in next week for Fathers and Failures, a special one-off one-shot of Demons and Daughters
Or potential
featuring.
Who knows?
We'll see. Featuring the fathers that the whole show is based around.
Yeah. Leave us some thoughts.
Yeah.
Give us some clicks and buttons.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
definitely follow and subscribe if you've not already, because you do not want to miss next week.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
Also, check out all of our other stuff that is
Yeah.
coming out, I guess.
So yeah, make sure that you're up to date on Fayearth, on Tales from the Spectral Sea.
I'm in Fair.
And
I'm
yeah,
in Fair.
yeah.
I'm in that one. I'm
Yeah.
not in the Spectral
Spectral
Sea
Sea.
stuff, but I'm in Fair.
But
so
yeah,
watch that one. At the very least, watch that one.
We're really putting out a lot of cool things with a lot of cool game developers at the minute, and you should be checking it out, because as much as we are a D&D show here, we love playing cool games by cool people, and you should as well.
I do want to add on to it. Do watch the Spectral Sea one, even though I'm not in it. Sounds very cool, and the whole system does seem fun.
The system is amazing.
So do check that. I do feel bad, but do check out Fair. So I do feel bad about that though,
Yeah.
because Sam is pretty cool, and I like the system.
Follow us on social media if you haven't already for all the updates. And if you want to support us extra in exchange for extra content, we do have a Patreon. And thank you to
Can I just add to an
everybody.
additional statement? Make sure you are watching Damsels and Dicestress as well. This whole Demons and Daughters thing, because I'm not really in
On
it,
that
but I
note-
think it's really enjoyable.
See you
I think
next
it's-
week!
Okay, yeah.
Submissive
Submissive
and
and
subscribable!
subscribable!
Fucking hell.
Ah!